I'm not bashing anybody, okay? So just calm down, whoever you are. Who is that?
Enough with the talking.
It's another sports show, for Christ's sakes. Another sports show. Jesus God.
At the pump, there is a price, and the number is obscene. And every day it goes up more until the number starts with 3. So I put the nozzle in, and I try not to scream.
Nozzle in?
'Cause my car, it really sucks. This expensive gasoline. We all pay for expensive gasoline. Outrageous gasoline. Pricey gasoline. Every day is more costly gasoline. Excessive gasoline. Extortionate gasoline. We all pay for expensive.
Okay, my first suggestion to you right off the bat, right out of the box, is quit acting like crazy people, okay? How much would you pay for a gallon of gas today?
About 30, man.
Yeah, I know it's way too late. I hope you told them that yesterday. Quit acting like crazy people. Although this morning George was out there acting like a crazy person.
I just need gas to get to work. That's all. You know, not
loading
up
work
jugs.
It's good for you,
yeah,
man. It'll build up your muscle. Get on a bicycle. Take the Metro Mover. Take a cab and charge it to the company. Oh, brother. So my paycheck didn't show up on Friday. I don't want to go through a whole song and a dance about that because the audience is used to my whining about not getting paid on payday. But the bottom line to that is I had put in a call. I got to tell this story right out of the box before I forget, because this is one of the greatest anecdotes in the history of mankind.
You're making it up.
No, I'm not making it up. I'm not creative enough to make this up. So I called Norma Kent, my erstwhile attorney, agent, queen, whatever she is. Come to find out, he's not returning any messages, and I found out by calling his house that he's on vacation in Vancouver, eh? So I had called his cell phone, left a couple of messages, and then I forgot about it because I figured, well, screw him. 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm in bed, sound asleep, just sound asleep, and the phone rings. So don't you figure when the phone rings 1 or 2 in the morning, it's probably some kind of an emergency?
Of course, that's what most people think.
That's what most rational people would think. So I jump out of bed. Instead of running in there like I did a couple of years ago and smashing my head in the table in the dark, I walked very, butch-like into the living room, picked up the phone, and it was Norma returning my call. I said, don't you realize it's 1 o'clock in the morning? He said, oh, no. He said, it's 10 o'clock at night here. He says, I thought I'm in Canada and you're in Canada, we'd be on the same time. And he was serious. I'm in Canada and you're in Canada, so I figured we'd be on the same time. What an idiot. What an imbecile. This is my agent and attorney, for those of you who wonder why I'm still working my ass off on this radio station. Unbelievable. Just absolutely
unbelievable.
Unspeakable. And you really thought I made that up.
I mean, that's pretty hard
surreal.
to swallow.
It is surreal. It's beyond belief. Oh, that's what Norma said. It's hard to swallow, but he'll try. Just so that's what I got. Pop had Tom Hagen. Look what I got. Anyway, here's the 8 a.m. We'll have a new one this hour.
Goody.
Although now MSNBC is obsessed. The FBI says polygamous fugitive Warren Jeffs was arrested in Las Vegas, and we're supposed to be all whipped up into a frenzy about that. We got to worry about Ernesto. We can't worry about Warren Jeffs, okay? We got to worry about Ernesto and the DNA didn't match and all of these kinds of things. We can't be worried about some polygamous pervert lunatic that wants to rape young girls. Now that's what that's all about.
Sure.
And, of course, it's very big out there in Utah where all the the religionists are. There's not that much of it anywhere else, is it, in the U.S.?
The whole Mormonism and the polygamy thing?
Yeah.
Pretty much a Utah thing.
It's a Utah thing. And, of course, Orrin Hatch is from Utah, so keep that in mind. Just something for the back of your mind. Anyway, we'll have a new advisory on Ernesto at 11, so probably around 10:45 if George reminds me, and I'll whip it out of there. At 8 o'clock this morning, Ernesto moving over water just to the north of Cuba, expected to strengthen. It might, and then again it might not. A tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch now in effect from New Smyrna Beach southward on the east coast, including Lake Okeechobee, from Bonita Beach southward on the west coast, and for all of the Florida Keys from Ocean Reef to the Dry Tortugas. A hurricane warning may be required for portions of South Florida and the Florida Keys later this morning. A tropical storm watch remains in effect from north of Bonita Beach northward to Englewood on the Florida west coast. A tropical storm warning and hurricane watch are still in effect for Andros Island, the Berry Islands, the Bimini's and Grand Bahama Island, and the northwestern Bahamas. A tropical storm warning remains in effect for Ragged Island and Great Exuma in the central Bahamas. At 8 o'clock this morning, the center of Ernesto is, and again, it's still a tropical storm, 45-mile-an-hour winds right now, but expected to increase, was located near, and that's not the big thing anyway right now. It's going to be lots and lots of rain.
Mm-hmm.
Center was located near latitude 22.8 north, longitude 79.3 west, or about 200 miles southeast of Key West and about 215 miles south-southeast of Miami.
Oh, my God.
Ernesto is moving toward the northwest at near 14 miles an hour, and this general motion is expected to continue for the next 24 hours. Now I don't understand that. Because if it continues moving toward the northwest and it doesn't make that northern turn that they've been predicting, and I'll just read it.
Yeah, what do you know?
On the forecast track, the center of Ernesto will be near the Florida Keys or southeast Florida by this evening. However, squally rain bands will be moving onshore in these areas during this afternoon. So if I were you, I'd get out there like a crazy person right now. The roads are very clear, says the Herald website. Not a lot of traffic.
Yeah, except
around all the gas stations. So I go out there like
stations.
a crazy person trying to get gas. And do not take a whole bunch of cans. This is what people are doing.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons that there's so many shortages.
Yeah.
The media got everybody whipped up into a frenzy. And so, as a result, people not only filling up their tank, topping off their tanks, doing all of these things, but they're also taking like all these jugs and, all these big containers and getting extra gas. Well, stop and figure it out, okay? If each person gets like an extra 5-gallon can or whatever
Yeah, a 5-gallon can. You should have seen the backs of the pickup trucks standing in that line this morning. They're getting 100 gallons each. I'm serious. They got the backs of trucks filled with like 25-gallon cans.
Well, it's a good thing that the president got the gas price real low for us anyway. Reports from an Air Force reconnaissance aircraft indicate that the maximum sustained winds remain near 45 miles an hour with higher gusts. Some strengthening is forecast during the next 24 hours. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 85 miles from the center. The minimum central pressure reported by the reconnaissance plane was 29.74 inches. Rainfall amounts of 3 to 6 inches, with isolated amounts of up to 10 inches expected over eastern Cuba. Rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches, with isolated amounts of up to 6 inches expected over central Cuba. These rains could cause life-threatening flash floods and mudslides. Oh, maybe Fidel will get caught in a mudslide, you think? Couldn't get him with that poison pen.
Isn't that a drink?
Rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches with possible isolated amounts of 3 to 6 inches possible over the Bahamas, which we don't care about any of them with all due respect. Rainfall totals of 5 to 10 inches possible over portions of eastern and southern Florida and the Keys through Wednesday, through tomorrow, with isolated amounts of up to 15 inches possible over southeastern Florida. 15 inches. Do you have any idea how much rain that is?
I don't know. A little?
And isn't it interesting? This is the anniversary of Katrina, and they're all hawking about Katrina, and Bush is there doing his photo opportunity, and isn't that something, huh? The Lord works in really mysterious ways. Coastal storm surge flooding of 1 to 3 feet above normal tide levels can be expected in areas of onshore flow within the warning area. Let's see, the next advisory, 11 o'clock this morning, so it'll be out around 10:45, and George will say, hey, guess what? Go get that thing. Now, here's the evidence that we... Should I give the poll result from your poll yesterday? Because I got all this other stuff, all these people in Iraq dying. And then, of course, the DNA didn't match. What? See, he even gets upstaged by hurricanes and stuff. Isn't that a shame? Although I think he got more than his 15 minutes of fame, wouldn't you say?
He drank champagne!
810 votes on Georgia's poll yesterday. What stresses you out the most? The administration, 219. The Bush crowd, the fascists, the neo-Nazis, the neo-cons. Sick and injured child, 108. Now, is that like your sick or injured child?
Or sick and or injured, if you're having problems of that nature.
Oh. Driving in South Florida, 103. Roads are nice and clear today, says the Herald. Don't blame us if they're not. Psycho spouse or partner. I wonder why George put that on there. 99.
No reason in particular.
Hurricanes, 83. Hurricanes. All of this stuff like it's going on right now. Not working, 69. Work, 55. Power outage. How about not getting your paycheck on payday? That's about the only thing that really stresses me out. Not getting paid on payday. It just really frosts my fat old ass. It's only happened about 20, 30 times at QAM. Power outages, 42. Car trouble, 19. How about running out of gas?
Yeah.
Pregnant wife, 7, especially when you weren't expecting it. And wondering where or when the next terrorist attack will be. Only 6. Solamente 6. Not too many. In spite of the fact they're trying to whip everybody up into a friend. They might just have to pull one off between now and November to, to remind you folks.
Oh, they would never do such a thing.
About what a great job the Republicans are doing protecting us all from those evildoers. There's nothing worse than drinking evildoers. Gas stations called out the police yesterday to manage a run on the pumps with lines of cars blocking traffic and fuel trucks unable to outrace demand. And I'm sure that the local media once again are doing all their best to get everybody whipped up into a state of frenzy and to make sure they go out there and act like crazy people. That's the way to do it. People are panicking, said Max Alvarez, whose Sunshine Gasoline distributor supplies 200 gas stations between Miami and West Palm. We're going to run out of product. That's what George's dealer told him, too. We're going to run out of product.
A long time ago.
The frenzy recalled the aftermath of Hurricane Wilma when the October storm idled hundreds of fuel stations across South Florida for nearly a week and created gas lines that stretched for blocks, as you'll recall. Gee, I wasn't there then and I'm not there now. Another good reason not to be there. Although I'm noticing that this thing, the track, the supposed forecast track, after it blows through the alley and right on up Florida, they got it going out just off the coast of Charleston and straight up the middle, like right through Pittsburgh and right across Lake Ontario. So maybe it'll finally come up. I can say, hi, Ernesto. Some of the chaos at that time during Wilma stemmed from the region's main fuel depot, Port Everglades, losing power. While Ernesto, the forecast to be a much weaker storm and more generators are in place at the port as well as the gas stations, industry executives are predicting a quicker recovery this time, thanks God. We now have generators standing by just in case, said David McCallum. Wasn't he on that show with, what's his name, with Robert, whatever his name was? David McCallum? What was that show?
I don't know.
With Robert Vaughn. Yeah, the hell you don't.
To Catch a Thief.
No. David McCallum, spokesman for Citgo, a supplier at the Everglades, he said, we're keeping extra product in the tanks. Well, who the hell wants to put Citgo gas in their car anyway? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll take anything at this point.
You would use Citgo. I should not put that in my Corvette. But motorists appear to be preparing for the worst yesterday. Lines at gas stations in Kendall, Coconut Grove, Pembroke Pines, and along the Florida Turnpike backed up into roadways and snarled traffic. Poor little George was schlepping all over town this morning looking for gas.
Hour and 20 minutes sitting in a line and
couldn't find any for love or money. And when you got the big bucks that he's got and you still can't get gas, you know you got real problems. At a Pinecrest Citgo, police officers directed traffic and coned off the right lane of the highway for the growing line of cars.
Man from Uncle.
That's the one. Robert Vaughn and David McCallum. Do you remember David McCallum, blonde, British, twerpy guy?
Never watched that show. I saw it, but I never watched it.
Loads of gas that normally last a day were being pumped out in a matter of hours. I passed one of my stations, and there were 200 cars there, said Hewell Howell, general manager of Dion Oil and Homestead. With the insane lines, you just can't keep up. Like I said, I'd go out there first thing before anything else today and act like a crazy person.
The biggest names of best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Bring back Alex Bennett, for gosh sake. Do yourself a favor, will you, pal? Oh!
Sir, do you have any liquids?
I'm not telling.
Oh, you must be gelling.
Oh, does that make me a felon?
Hey, no need for yelling. Let me get my supervisor, Ellen.
Sir, are you gelling?
Oh, your question is compelling.
Let's see what the dogs are smelling. You are so gelling.
Oh, you caught me, you infidelins.
Let's go. In Gitmo, you'll be dwelling.
That was great.
Isn't that great? 10:18 at 560 WQAM, man. We're gelling and you're smelling. I'm telling you that right now. We got Mad Dog, and that's right, we got the new lineup. It's my first day back on the air with a new lineup. Now, why was Kenny Walker saying he was going to rip their ass? What's that all about? I think that he wants that.
I don't know.
I'm not. Look, first of all, I have listened very little. It's not fair to make an assessment of any show in like 1 or 2 days. They've only been on 2 days now. Now, I will say this, that Josh Cordes did report this morning that Bocamper won't shut up, and it's basically the Kim Bocamper show. Didn't you say that?
I said that I hear Bocamper a lot, yeah.
Yeah, too much. See, I'd like to
you
the
better
other way
beef
around.
up.
Yeah, I'd rather hear Kenny Walker about 95% of the time, and then Bocamper like maybe once every couple of hours, like once between 7 and 10. But nevertheless, I'm not going to, how can you make any judgment? I've only listened for maybe a total of 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm not going to rip those guys. The only thing I will say, it's another sports show. Oh, my God. Go out and get some gas, by the way. Oh, they're just obsessing about this Warren Steed Jeffs, who's on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. Here's another good change the subject deal. Isn't this great? Let's see. We went from the war in Iraq, which, of course, everything's just fine there now. I got some good stuff about dead people in a minute. We went from that to the Middle East, to Lebanon and the Israelis. And then we went to David Mark Karr. And now that's kind of worn out because the DNA didn't match. So now we got Warren Jeffs. And, of course, we got Ernesto, right?
Right. What's not to like?
Right. Just keep changing the subject. That's what it's all about. Plus, we got the anniversary of Katrina, and everybody's there in New Orleans, and things aren't like much different than they were a year ago. and certainly no money for medical care or rebuilding the hospitals or taking care of people who are dying over there. But hey, we got this war in jets. The suspect, he's suspected of arranging all this polygamy stuff. Faces federal charge of unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, and they arrested him near Vegas. See, vagrants go to two places, people who want to go and hide, Florida and Vegas.
Right.
All right?
Sure.
Two places, and just like all those terrorists, those slime balls, those scumballs. Okay, let's see what we got on the poll here. 834 votes on my poll for today. That's not too bad. We'll make 1,000 even on a day like today when everybody's running around like Chicken Little. That's what I would do. I would run around in circles. That's exactly what I was thinking, making that sound like that. Just all day it'll keep you out of trouble, and then you don't need any gas to do that. What celebrity or athlete are you most tired of? Now, you know who I voted for, even though he's only fourth on the list, and this is what inspired me to do the poll. If I have to hear about Tiger Woods ever again, I may plots. I just can't take it. He plays golf, you know? And all of a sudden, when you're expecting at least, you're watching the news, you're watching something, maybe Comedy Central, whatever you're watching, and here's a clip of today's golf tournament, and there's Tiger, and he just made that exciting putt, and he's like, yeah, like that, you know, he's having a nervous breakdown. I mean, he doesn't need the money now. He's only got about $1 billion, so it can't possibly be that. He's got that attractive blonde young wife, so it's got to be ego at this point, right?
Often is.
Which I don't deny him anything. Whatever he wants more, I just don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see him. I don't want to hear his name. It's just silly crap, you know. It's one step away from people playing poker on TV. It's the World Series of Poker. It's celebrity poker. How about anonymous poker? People that we never heard of. People like schleppers off the street. At least they need a chance for the jackpot, right?
Right.
Let some crackpot win the jackpot instead of all these big celebrities playing poker. See, that's what I first thought. That was the sign of the end of the world when people watching other people playing cards on television. But no, you know what it really was?
What?
Here in Boulder County, he's been talking with John Mark Karr every day, vigorously defending him. The word coming in, telling reporters that John Mark Karr. I can't stand it anymore. We're just getting word now that there will be no hearing. Is that correct?
See, the fact that she is on the air, the fact that anybody would put her on the air is so just outrageous and unacceptable. It's positively unbelievable. I can't even relate to it. She can't speak. You know, it's one thing we had Brokaw on the air all those years and Baba Wawa, and they both have speech defects, but this broad can't even speak. It's like her vocal cords have been singed.
Sure.
Like there's been a forest fire in her larynx or something.
Gargled with turpentine.
That's exactly it. With hydrogen peroxide, turpentine, and Valvoline. Oh, in fact, she could probably use some Vaseline on her vocal cords. It's so aggravating. It's like fingernails on a blackboard. In fact, you know that bit we got, that 8 sounds? I think we found the 9th one. Yeah, 9 sounds that you hate. I can just hear that one coming with her voice on there. What a voice. Anyway, did I ever get to the poll? I don't think I did.
No.
What celebrity or athlete are you most tired of? By the way, the movie I recommended very highly to George and Josh, Four Brothers, with Mark Wahlberg, and then a bunch of other people. Many of them Marky Mark and a bunch of guys pretty dark. But it's an excellent movie. It was on a cable last night. What? Well, it's about four brothers who were adopted by a white lady in Detroit and 2 white kids and 2 black guys.
So it's Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
That's correct. And they come back later on to revenge their adopted mother's killing, and a lot of violence and a lot of bloodshed and shooting, car chase. It's good. You like it. The movie that I saw that was absolutely horrible, awful. And George already warned you about this one. Good night and good luck.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck is right.
Good luck staying awake. And
if you wasted time seeing that, good luck to you.
The good night part is accurate.
Yeah.
Boy.
Because you'll be in a coma in no time at all. It's like listening to Kim Bokamper put you into a coma.
That bummed me out because it's an important, issue.
About the only good part, and of course I can say because I'm an old fart, so I lived through all of that stuff with the Army McCarthy hearings, and there's Joe McCarthy and all his red baiting and all the other stuff, and the Roy Cohn and his boyfriend G. David Shine, which they barely even mention that, just barely. And that's the problem, is they showed some accurate documentary footage, Joe McCarthy, and there were the McClellan hearings and Stuart Symington. And it was, Joseph Welch, I think was the attorney's name. Have you no shame, Senator? Have you no, yeah. And that was great. The only problem is it was all out of context. So unless you lived through that or you're a student of that era, you have no idea what that part of it was all about. And the rest of it, in ponderous black and white, was as slow and ponderous and coma-inducing. Man, it was really bad. It was horrible. One of the worst movies I've... And luckily, it was right there on the cable. So,
That's a crying shame.
What?
But it was horrible.
It sucks.
Terminal.
What celebrity or athlete are you most tired of? Tom Cruise, 219. Hey, Tommy!
You fairy.
Paris Hilton, 180. She's right on Tommy's ass. Terrell Owens, 120. Just got another fine there. Didn't he get fined from the Cowboys? Terrell
Owens?
He did. He's just a T.O., man. He's just a problem waiting to happen. Tiger Woods, 72. Can't stand the Tiger. Just enough with him already. I'm not big on people who are known by one name, you know? Madonna, Prince, Tiger, who else?
Yeah, Cher,
Michael Jordan, Michael. You know, I'm not big on that. I think it's crap. Tiger Woods, 72. Britney Spears, 50. Speaking of crap, boy, is she a cow. Speaking of cows, Oprah, 39. She's right on Britney's butt. Mel Gibson, 32. Star Jones, 31. Donald Trump, 29. Barry Bonds, 17. Madonna, 17. See about those one-name people?
Mm-hmm.
Madonna, 19 now. Barry Bonds, 17. Shaq has got 10. Another one of those with a big head and one name. Oh, there's Ernesto.
People, they need to prepare.
Okay. Let's see. Jessica Simpson, 9. Bono, 9. Whitney Houston's got 6. Oh, and of course, Osama's probably one of them. Don't you love that? Osama's got a crush on Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
George Clooney, 5. Jennifer Aniston, 4. Brad Pitt's got 2. And Lance Bass has got Solamente Uno. I almost played the wrong cue there.
The biggest names of best
Thanks for doing that. Plus, I'm not supposed to be playing that now anyway.
Yeah,
that was just a practice run. Huh? Well, no, just practicing before the live spot. Well, I'm so confused. You threw that at me right before the show today. And to give me a chance to take the old ones out of here, but I'll do that. I'll do that right at 2 o'clock. Or maybe I'll do it now while you do the rest of the show. George, by the way, is planning on taking off tomorrow for the storm.
Yeah.
I just thought I would mention that. No, seriously, they'll probably just simulcast, and then, of course, what will happen is...
Clarence already came in and said, it's you, meaning me.
Oh, well, you can swim there. You can swim just downstream.
That's
right. You can go out there and just
let
the current take you right down 441. Hey, racing and poker fans, Pompano Park is back in action starting this Friday, September 1. Opening night, the first 1,000 fans to come to the track at 6 p.m. will get a coupon for a free Pompano Park beach towel plus live music trackside. Both Friday and Saturday this weekend, the action will be hot on the track with the $40,000 Florida Sunshine Stakes races. Saturday is Family Fun Night with free drawings for $1,000 in betting vouchers and for the kids, free mini golf, face painting, a bounce house, caricature artist, and those fabulous mini horses, too. You'll be bouncing on it. And best of all, both admission and parking are free, like always at Pompano Park. The track opens for live racing and poker every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Post time 7:25 p.m., and the poker is open from noon until midnight. If you like your poker, simulcasting every day from noon till 1 in the morning. So make plans now to come out opening weekend, this weekend. Pompano Park Racing and Poker are blocked south of Atlantic Boulevard on Powerline Road. For the current racing schedule, 954-972-2000, or online, it's pompanopark.com.
The biggest names of best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Soda and shampoo and coffee and water, gel candles and teething rings for your daughter. Dump out that duty-free case of champagne. These are the things you can't take on a plane. Cheese whiz and hair gel and lip balm and toothpaste. Clear it still for all of those bits on your face. You have that sunburn but no solar cane. That's one more thing you can't take on a plane. At the airport you'll be waiting. It may seem insane while they make you throw out all of those things you cannot take on a plane.
You know, call me crazy.
You're crazy.
I'm not going to say it. No, but when I read that advisory, it didn't make any sense to me, because if it continued toward the northwest for the next 24 hours, and it's moving at 14 miles an hour, do you follow what I'm saying?
What are you saying?
That's over 300 miles to the northwest before it would make that would put it in the Gulf.
They've been predicting that it was going to jag north ever since it was over Haiti.
Yeah, but it's not doing it.
It ain't.
That's currently bringing rain all
There's
the
no
way
reason
from
not
the
to panic,
northeastern
though.
states, even here in Secaucus, New Jersey, down through the Central Plains, and as far south as Texas.
And look at that, the MSNBC map. It shows such important places as East Naples and Coral Springs, and Miami, of course. Wouldn't you think if you had a map of the southern tip of Florida, you'd have Coral Springs and East Naples on there?
There's no question. Those are
now,
the important
I'm going to
towns.
leave this up to you. I'm going to. I don't know whether I should. I don't want to say waste my time, but I mean, there's 8 million closings, and you know.
I would not waste my time with those particulars.
Well, how do you know what particulars? You don't know what I got here. I've got like
you got a pile of stuff
9 pages of it.
Look,
this would take us into the Jim Mandich show. I never even gave the rest of the lineup yet.
There you go. The news is doing this 24/7 with the closings on all the crawls and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Now they're showing the line taking it right up over Niagara Falls and right into Toronto. All right. Misery loves company, baby.
Seaboard up near Washington and then straight north up through, say, upstate New York or Ohio there.
Yeah, and right across to Mississauga, it looks like to me.
In real danger here, because once it gets over Florida, it could gain strength again. Is that the case?
Well, when it goes out over the ocean after it leaves Florida, it probably will gain some strength, and it may land as a Category 1, possibly even a Category 2.
Oh, this goofball from the University of Miami, David Nolan.
But I think also historically we see a lot of danger from these kinds of storms.
You want to know how you know he's a goofball?
How do you know he's a goofball?
U of M.
Say into West Virginia or into the Pennsylvania mountains, like the track shows, there could be a lot of rain, and there's a long history of storms like this causing substantial and severe.
Yeah, see, this doesn't show it starting to make that jag to the north till it gets over like by Fort Myers, and it's going to come blowing right through Joyce's desk. Right through her rectum. Or just open her up wide like the Grand Canyon. Wouldn't be the first time. Dade Public and Private Schools closed today and tomorrow. Broward Public and Private Schools closed today and tomorrow. If you want more information, contact the Rumor Hotline. I guess giving that number out would be good. Although this can't possibly be the right number. You know, they do this all the time. This is Channel 7. It's got 754. Remember we did this during Wilma, the same crap. How can there be a number 754? Is there such an area code? It's got to be 954.
I don't know. They're adding them every day.
Get out of here. There's a 754?
Yes.
There is?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Are you sure? Okay.
To my knowledge, I think most of them are cell phones, but
Well, anyway, the Rumor Hotline, according to the Channel 7 website, 754-321-0321. Monroe County schools closed today due to the imminent threat of, and it says here, Hurricane Ernesto. It's not a hurricane, you idiots. It's not a freaking hurricane. It might become a hurricane again. It's a tropical storm, you idiots, you. Let's see. Miami Country Day School closed today and tomorrow. You said don't do these, didn't you?
Whatever. Kills a good time.
All classes at Temple Bat Yam in Fort Lauderdale canceled today.
Oi!
I'm not going to read all these school closings. Anybody stupid enough to be going to school on a day. The Hillel Community Day School will be closed today and tomorrow. The Temple Call Ami Emmanuel L. Day School is closed today. All this Jewish stuff. JM Learning Center is closed today and tomorrow. Okay, let's see. All classes, clinical activities, and events at the University of Miami canceled for today. No estudien in U of M today. Of course, why is that any different from any other day? Manishtana halala hazeh, as they say in España. All classes and events also canceled for tomorrow. We'll have a decision about the status of medical school operations for Wednesday. Will be made midday today. We'll have our thumb right on that. Miami-Dade, MDCC, students and staff should call the Miami-Dade hotline or visit the MDC website. Well, the hotline is 305-237-7500 or www.mdc.edu for latest updated information on the college status. All FAU classes and normal business operations canceled today. Decision regarding tomorrow's status will be made at 12:30 this afternoon. FIU closed today and tomorrow. Carlos Abizu University and the Goodman Clinic for Psychological Services closed today and tomorrow. By the way, the DNA did not match. Well, I got to throw these things in there, man. We got so many fish to fry for crying out loud. It's like an good old country fish fry. The Everglades University Boca campus closed today. There's too many of these, and if I leave some out, then they'll say I'm, Broward Community College closed today. Tolls are suspended until further notice on the Homestead extension of the Turnpike, including all toll plazas from Florida City up to the Three Lakes Toll Plaza in Osceola County. Tolls suspended southbound and northbound on the Sawgrass in East and West and Alligator Alley. So if you want to save some money, you can go out there and just keep driving around and waste all that gas. Tolls lifted on the westbound Gratney. Bridges in Broward and Dade counties are in the lockdown position until further notice. I'm sure the bridge tender is not too happy about that. They're in the lockdown position. So all you boaters out there, in other words, what they're trying to tell you, if you're stupid enough to get out there in your boat, you deserve to drown anyway. Right. You should be dying over there. Miami Parking Authority office is closed today and tomorrow. The South Florida Regional Transportation Authority has suspended tri-rail service till further notice. Lauderdale Lakes Community Bus Service continues to run till further notice. The Metro Rail and the transit bus system in Dade running today, but on a reduced schedule. In other words, pretty much whenever they feel like it. Broward County transit buses picking up people in the coastal areas and mobile home parks beginning at 10 this morning, like 39 minutes ago. Don't let me forget to get that new advisory at 11 o'clock.
I won't.
Before then.
Hey,
don't forget. Miami International Airport remains fully operational when winds are sustained at 55 miles an hour. The control tower will evacuate. And by the way, if anybody's on the wrong runway, probably somebody in the control tower should tell them, hey, idiot, you're on the wrong runway. That's why the lights are out, you morons. I still can't get over that.
I mean, tragic.
Yeah. And by the way, nice going on the opening of the Emmys the other night.
Oh, I missed it. Was it good?
No, I didn't see it. No, but they're getting roasted and toasted, and they had to issue an apology, NBC, for putting on the plane crash scene there from whatever that show is. Just not a good idea to be making fun of plane crashes on a day when you had a plane crash when 49 people died. When winds are sustained at 55 miles an hour, the control tower will evacuate, meaning no flights will be departing or landing. Call your individual airline for any flight changes. But anyway, Miami International is still open as of this moment. Business continues as usual at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, which means if it's as usual, it's like chaos. Nothing will change unless there's a hurricane warning. Key West International Airport has not announced status for today's operations. Well, I wouldn't be flying around Key West today, would you?
No.
Especially on Port Everglades is currently closed. Port of Miami is closed inbound traffic. Tomorrow's status, let's see. Oh, I see. It's still being determined what they're going to do. Post office as of now, full operations planned for today because no matter whether rain or snow or sleet, right?
Yeah.
I wish DHL would feel the same way. Of course, I heard that you had a monsoon on Friday, which you did not have. I know that. That was the excuse why my check didn't show up. Bastards. Garbage pickup in Dade. Normally scheduled pickup will continue throughout Dade County through about 1 o'clock today. Garbage pickup in Broward will continue until conditions deteriorate today. In other words, whenever they feel like it, they'll show up. If not, they're going home. They're going to drive around.
They already hit my house, so that's good.
They got to go around and see if they can get some gas. Early voting in Dade and Broward has been suspended till further notice with permission from the governor. Well, I'm sure he's real happy about that because now they can work over those votes pretty good. They can give them the once over and the twice over. Federal courthouses in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, and Fort Pierce not affected will be open for business as usual. Let's see. Well, there's 8 million of them on here, but I'm not going to read all these. Only the important ones, like the City of Oakland Park offices and facilities, will be closed today. That's pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
City of Hollywood remains open for business today. George can go over there and get some gas. All Broward County courts and government offices closed today. Let's see. All this Dania Highlight is open today. Let's hear it.
Oh!
Total Bank is closed today. I have no idea. Galleria Mall is closed today. Don't be going to the Galleria. The Jewish Federation of Broward is closed today. The Falls Mall remains open until a hurricane warning is issued. Pan Am Horizons Federal Credit Union closed today. And then, of course, parks. Who the hell's going to the park on a day like, when we got a hurricane or this coming? And then we got the information about the sandbags, which, based on what I'm hearing so far, I think we're all getting sandbags.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
You got.
Miss Williams, corporate didn't get those new samples.
But I sent them 3 days ago.
Well, did you send them by FedEx?
Oh, no. I sent them by K-FedEx.
Hey, this is Kevin Federline, but you can call me K-Fed. You know, there's actually people who think I won't become a big rap star. Haters. So I gotta have something to fall back on. After all, you can only sponge off the fat wife for so long, right? That's why I've gone into the delivery business. Hold on. Hello, K-FedEx. You want to track a package? Is it like a box or something? When will it be delivered? When I get around to it. Whatever. Well, I'm going to get to deliver these packages, but first, a nap. So next time you need to ship something, use K-FedEx. Peace.
K-FedEx. The absolutely positively kind of sort of, well, maybe if I have to, when I get around to it, it'll get there when it gets there, delivery company.
Yeah, I think that's what they sent my check on for Friday.
Must have been.
K-FedEx.
Yo.
1047 at 560 WQAM. So anyway, that lineup today, we got the Humper at 4, or let's see, Mad Dog at 2, the Power Hour with Hank and Mad Dog 4 to 5, Hank Goldberg 5 to 7. We got Hurricane Hotline with Larry Coker at 7 o'clock. And then you got your Marlins on deck. What about those Marlins? 8 in a row. Am I right about that? Is it 8?
You're right about that.
They were playing great. They won 8 in a row. They're only, 2 games out of the wild card now, I believe?
That's right. And you thought they couldn't make it.
I didn't say they were going to make it now. They got to play the Cardinals in St. Louis tonight. We got the pregame at 7:35, game time at 8:10, then Eddie K after the baseball game. I bet you the interest in the Marlins now is peaking. I saw those attendance figures for the Brewers games. It looked like they had at least people in there. Not too many. Well, who the hell wants to see the Milwaukee Brewers anyway, right?
Right.
Suck. Okay, here's the water and sandbag distribution points. Then I'll get off of this stuff, okay? And then we'll have the 11 o'clock advisory. It's not on there yet, by the way. Maybe MSNBC. Now, they're still hawking with Katrina, okay? Katrina was last year, okay, sweetheart? It was last year. We don't care about Katrina. Obviously, the government doesn't, and neither does anybody else care about those poor schleppers down there. Oh, and now we're back to this guy again. I guess this story is so much more important than I thought it was, because they're all over it like Stink on Joyce.
You were watching this yesterday, weren't you?
What?
The news. When the DNA test came back.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Warren Stacey.
Oh, that
Jeffs.
guy. Oh, I'm sorry.
You better get with it, mister. You don't know your hysterical story du jour.
I'm watching local hysterical news.
Your hysterical news du jour.
Hey, look, there's lines around gas stations.
Yeah. Oh, there's a line ringing. WQAM, it'll be a crank. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
Okay, sir.
I'm down in South Florida, and I wish I was up there in Canada.
I don't blame you.
It's people are just so stupid. I mean, I can't imagine what's going on here, and it's not even a one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to say
you
hello.
got your gas? I just want to know if you got your gas, man.
I got so much of everything. I'm all ready. But the thing that is, I just wanted to say I love the new lineup, and especially the Hank and Mad Dog together. That's always very interesting, those two bouncing off each other.
The power hour when the two guys shower together. I love it.
Yeah, and Mandich keeps saying the cross-dressing hour.
Uh-huh.
It's beautiful. And one other thing, I got a great poll idea.
Okay.
Someday in 20 or 30 years, when poor Uncle Neil, goes
sleeps with the fishes,
takes
right?
the dirt nap, who is going to inherit his huge estate?
Okay, see you around, eh?
Woodbine Race Guy, right?
Wow. They already got a big chunk. Let's see, water and sandbag distribution points. Now, see, that was a good call. Now, don't press your luck. Sweetwater. You want this, in fact, water and sandbag, and I think they're also giving rubber rafts to the Sweetwater residents. Residents of the city of Sweetwater may pick up sand at Southwest 109th Avenue, 4th Street in Sweetwater. All residents must bring a current ID showing that they live in the city in order to receive sandbags. Homestead. Sandbags will be distributed to city residents only today from 7 o'clock in the morning till noon, so you got an hour and 9 minutes left at the following locations: Homestead Sports Complex / Baseball Stadium and Roby George Park, 201 Southwest 11th Avenue. Who the hell is it? Roby Young Park? Roby.
I didn't know he had a park.
Businesses only can pick up sandbags at the lot behind Losner Park at 100 North Chrome Avenue. Proof of homestead residency will be required. And Oakland Park. Sandbags will be distributed at 5100 Northeast 12th Terrace in Oakland Park. The Sandbag Depot is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Residents of Oakland Park limited to 20 bags per household while supplies last. We're sandbagging it. Well, there's my phone is ringing. That means that probably that disc is downstairs. Yeah, I better go get it right away. The fugitive leader of a polygamous set has been arrested in southern Nevada, the FBI said today. Warren Steve Jeffs, 50, was taken into custody after he and two other people were pulled over late Monday by a Nevada Highway Patrol trooper on I-15 just north of Las Vegas, FBI spokesman David Sterrett said. The leader of the fundamentalist church, oh, maybe that's Norma calling from Vancouver, seeing if it's 7 in the morning. Can you believe that line? If I'm in Canada and you're in Canada, it must be the same time.
I know you wouldn't make it up, but if somebody else had told me,
I couldn't believe it when I heard it. That's like somebody in L.A. calling somebody in New York at midnight, where it's 3 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, and saying, "Oh, well, I'm in the U.S. and you're in the East U.S. I thought we'd be on the same time." In other words, moron, as somebody would say. M-O-R-O-N. Warren Steve Jeffs, the leader of the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, another bunch of Getchkis, was wanted in Utah and Arizona on suspicion of sexual misconduct for allegedly arranging marriages between underage girls and older men.
Oh, my gosh.
Since May. Boy, I tell you, I'm serious, they ought to introduce him to John Mark Karr.
Sure, got a lot.
He could hook him up.
He should have been a Mormon. He missed his calling.
Since May, Jeffs has been on the FBI's 10 most wanted list with a $100,000 reward offered for information leading to his capture. The other two people in the vehicle were identified as one of Warren Jeffs' wives, Naomi Jeffs, one of his wives. He's like Osama, only he doesn't have the hots for Whitney Houston. And a brother, Isaac Steve Jeffs, both 32, Sterrett said. They're being interviewed by the FBI in Las Vegas, not arrested. I don't know why this is such a big story, and they're just hyperventilating about this. I guess because he was on the FBI most wanted list, huh?
Whatever, it's a distraction. Just another distraction.
I got this list of all these openings and closing. I'm all done.
Speaking of distractions.
I'm not, well... You know, like museums. I mean, who the hell's going to go to a museum? If you're stupid enough to head out for the museum on a day when you got a damn possible hurricane coming, then you deserve to get stiffed and then just waste your gas, you know. My best advice is stay home and listen to us today or pretend you're listening to us.
Right.
Turn on the TV and watch them all hyperventilating, which I'm sure they're doing plenty of.
Mm-hmm.
916 votes on the poll. It's not even 11 o'clock yet. Oh, you forgot to remind me to look up that thing.
No, I didn't.
When did you say it? Did he say it, Josh?
I was going to say it right now because you went into the break.
Too late. Not time for the break yet.
Hey, don't forget.
We don't have the new one yet anyway.
11 o'clock advisory.
No, here's this is the old one. Let me just make sure. Oh, no, here's the new one. Got it. How do you like that? Is this exciting or what? You see, if I were of the right mind, I would say, well, you just stay home tomorrow because you don't have any gas. And I'll do the show from here because it's going to be, sunshine. It's not bad. But I'm not going to do that.
I'll trade you.
I offered to do that last time.
Yeah?
You remember?
I do remember.
Said, oh, no, and that would have been a lot bigger improvement because I got the internets, I got, the cable, I got all the access to it. Plus, I got electricity, and I got water and gas.
Yeah, I'm not going to have any of the above tomorrow.
I got plenty of gas.
We'll have lots of water, I'm sure.
Okay, here's the 11 a.m. advisory on Ernesto. Ready?
I'm ready.
Outer rain bands of Ernesto near the Florida Keys and southeast Florida coast. Some strengthening is still expected. At 11 o'clock this morning, the tropical storm warning is extended northward along the U.S. East Coast, north of New Smyrna Beach, Florida, to Altahama Sound, Georgia. Oh, that's near Aintree. At 11 o'clock this morning, the tropical storm watch has changed to a tropical storm warning for the Florida West Coast from north of Bonita Beach northward to Englewood. And a tropical storm watch is issued from north of Englewood to Tarpon Springs. Tropical storm warning and hurricane watch remain in effect from New Smyrna Beach southward on the east coast, including Lake Okeechobee, from Bonita Beach southward on the west coast, and for all the Florida Keys from Ocean Reef to the dry Tortugas. At 11 o'clock this morning, they're not dry anymore, I guess. At 11 o'clock this morning, the government of the Bahamas discontinued the tropical storm warning for Ragged Island and Great Exuma in the central Bahamas. Every time I say Bahamas, I want to play that.
Yeah, man.
But they don't say that there, do they?
I think they might. It's a Jamaican thing, though, but who knows?
I know that.
The Bahamas.
A tropical storm warning and hurricane watch remain in effect for Andros Island, the Berry Islands, the Bimini's and Grand Bahama Island, northwestern Bahamas. Let's see. At 11 o'clock this morning, the center of Tropical Storm Ernesto was located near latitude 23.3 north, longitude 79.5 west, or about 170 miles east-southeast of Key West, and about 180 miles south-southeast of Miami. 180 miles south-southeast of Miami.
Oh, my God.
Ernesto is moving toward the northwest, near 13 miles an hour. Now, you following that?
No.
And listen, and the general motion is expected to continue today and tonight toward the northwest. On this track, the center will be nearing the Florida Keys and extreme southern Florida tonight. However, rains and squalls will be arriving well in advance of the center. Maximum sustained winds are still near 45 miles an hour. Some strengthening expected before the center reaches Florida. Higher gusts. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 85 miles from the center. Estimated minimum central pressure is 1,005 millibars, 29.68 inches. Coastal storm surge flooding of 1 to 3 feet above normal tide levels can be expected in areas of onshore flow within the warning area. Rainfall totals of 5 to 10 inches possible near the track of Ernesto over southern Florida, including the Keys through Wednesday, through tomorrow, with isolated amounts of up to 15 inches possible. Rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches and isolated amounts up to 6 inches expected over eastern and central Cuba. Rainfall amounts of up to 1 to 2 inches with isolated amounts of 4 inches possible over the Bahamas. Isolated tornadoes possible over southern Florida, including the Keys this evening and tonight. And the next intermediate advisory at 2, so we'll have it like at about 1:40, before 2 o'clock, before the Mad Dog Show.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
This is the Neil Rogers Show. This is your brain. Any questions?
Can't afford the high price of gas? Then refinance your car now with DriveTech.com.
The price of gas was breaking me, so I logged on to DriveTech.com and found out how I can get a second, third, or even fourth loan on my car.
With DriveTech.com, you can get the gas you need today and pay for it tomorrow.
DriveTech.com lets me buy gas so I can take the kids to school. Of course, now I pay $1,200 a month for my 98 Hyundai, but it's worth it.
With DriveTech.com, you can borrow up to 125% of the value of your car. All we ask is that you make your payments on time.
Hey, stop! That's my car! I just put the check in the mail! Hey!
DriveTech.com. It's not like you have another choice.
Thanks for the full tank of gas, sucker! Lost another car to DriveTech.
It's 11:02 at 560 WQAM. We have 942 votes on the poll. Aren't you excited about that?
Thrilled as you can imagine.
They're taking time out from their busy schedule and from their driving around looking for gas, wasting all the gas that they already got. What celebrity or athlete are you most tired of? Tom Cruise, 246. Hey, Tommy.
Yay.
Get lost. Oh, he's got that new deal now with, who was it? Somebody.
The company or the KD?
I don't know, and I don't care. I'm tired of him. Paris Hilton, 199. Terrell Owens, 129. Another fine, Terrell.
Oh, we're fine.
Tiger Woods, 78. No mo, please, no mas. Britney Spears, 57. Oprah, 43. Mel Gibson, 35. Donald Trump, 34. Star Jones, 33. Madonna, 20. Barry Bonds, 18. By the way, did you notice on Friday they had 7 different episodes with planes that had to be diverted in emergency? There's a new movie coming out called Flakes on a Plane. Crazy people on planes. Yeah, and not a single one of them had anything to do with terrorism. How about the student who had the half a stick of dynamite that he brought home as a souvenir from Mexico?
Only half a stick?
Yeah, one idiot.
Where was the rest of it?
Star Jones, 33. Madonna, 20. Barry Bonds, 18. Shaq has got 11. Bono, 11. Jessica Simpson, 9. Whitney Houston, 6. Jennifer Aniston, 6. George Clooney, 5. Brad Pitt, 3. And Lance Bass,
gay.
Solamente uno. Well, maybe they want to hear more about Lance Bass. They're still hawking about this Wayne Jeffs guy.
Family has...
Oh, my God. I don't know. I mean, maybe I heard of him somewhere along the line, but I don't think so. Anyway, let's get into the meat of the matter, okay, into our regular agenda here. We only got 3 hours to go until Mad Dog.
All right.
2 o'clock. Then we got that big, expensive power hour. That's probably why they couldn't get my paycheck there on time on Friday, where they dilly-dallied and made sure it didn't show up till Saturday. Same old Beasley trick, man. Buying time. That's why you see Miguel out there in the street corner. Right in the pouring rain, he's going to be on the street corner with like a tin cup and a hat, collecting, see if we can pay for the power hour. The most expensive hour in South Florida sports talk. Iraqi police found 11 bodies near a school in southwestern Baghdad's Al-Turwa neighborhood this morning. The men were blindfolded, had their hands tied behind their backs, and showed signs of torture. Other than that, they were okay, but they're still dead. And violence in Iraq left nearly 50 people dead yesterday in a suicide car bombing and clashes between Shiite militia and Iraqi security forces, a brutal contradiction to the Prime Minister's claim that the bloodshed was decreasing. Oh, it's in its waning day.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to be doing.
Blood.
That's what it's going to be doing the next 2 or 3 days. It's going to be waning a lot. The deaths followed a day of bombings and shootings on Sunday when more than 60 people were killed across the country, from the northern city of Kirkuk to the capital of Baghdad down to the south in Basra. The dead included 8 American soldiers, one of the deadliest weekends for the U.S. military in recent months. Well over 2,600. I don't think the number's in this article, but it's well over 2,600 now, and marching well toward the 3,000 mark. Not that anybody seems to care. Here it is. It now just says more than 2,600 U.S. military personnel have died, but they just can't even count no more. They can't get the number. The renewed violence undercut Prime Minister Maliki's claim that government forces were prevailing over insurgents and sectarian extremists. You're right, you should live so long. Also, a suicide bomber on a minibus near the Palestine Hotel in central Baghdad killed 8 civilians and wounded 18 there. Just mention these things in passing because everything is going...
Oh, we're fine.
So let's change the subject, okay? Let's get off of Iraq. Let's get to the Who Killed John Bonet again, huh? Let's get to the polygamous leader that was nabbed by the FBI. We're doing a heck of a job. Let's get to a year after Katrina when things are going so swimmingly well. Was that like a little play on words? They're going swimmingly well.
Cute.
It's a tragedy, man. It's a disgrace. And then they're interviewing such experts as Brownie Brown again. Well, if we haven't learned our lesson, yeah, right. Yeah, let's put his ass on her again. That Arabian horse's ass, Brownie Brown. Hard to believe. Well, I guess if there's anybody who've been, maybe they're out driving around looking for gas. They didn't get the bulletin yesterday afternoon. Prosecutors abandoned their case after millions and millions of words have been written in breathless, hysterical shows and on and on and on. Prosecutors abandoned their case against schoolteacher John Mark Karr yesterday, saying that DNA tests failed to link Karr to the slaying of child beauty contestant John Benet Ramsey, who, by the way, is still dead. Karr was briefly freed from jail, but quickly returned to await extradition to the California, where he's waiting on 5 misdemeanor child pornography counts. He's waiting and he's wanted. District Attorney Mary Lacey revealed how the case against Karr was built and unraveled in a 5-page motion asking a judge to drop the arrest warrant that brought Karr from Bangkok, Thailand. DNA test completed Saturday confirmed that Karr was not the source of the DNA found on the underwear of John Benet Ramsey, disproving his claim that he was sexually involved with a child and killed her by accident. Karr's family also provided strong circumstantial evidence he was with him in Georgia at the time of the crime. In Georgia? Why does that say in Georgia? They were in Alabama, weren't they?
I don't know.
These stories keep saying they were in Georgia, and they were from Alabama, I do believe, with a banjo on their knee. The prosecutor's motion said no evidence has developed other than his own repeated admissions to place Mr. Karr at the scene of the crime. And people are saying, well, why did they bring him back? Better that they did bring him back because he's a known pedophile, and he was teaching young girls school over there in Thailand. He was ready to move in.
The effects of as far north as New Jersey and all the way down into Texas. You can clearly see that boundary here. That boundary steering this system directly into.
Look at your speaker on your radio there. Look at your little speaker.
What do we have? Flood watches from well north of Orlando all the way down to south central Florida, West Palm Beach, Fort Pierce, Daytona, Miami. Miami's got 2.5 million people, and Miami could be dealing with some potent storm surge, 3 to 5.
Oh, now look at that. They're showing us thing, the course moving to the northwest, and it's going right toward Key West. But it's continuing to move to the northwest. Now, if that's the case, then all of a sudden they jog it to the north as it gets over to about Naples. You got it?
Got it.
They're jogging it. But now it looks to me like what they're showing there, the cone is even farther away than it was before. I think basically on this one they just don't know. They're just flabbergasted. They haven't got a clue. Standing in Jackson Square on September 15th, President Bush stated, "This government will learn the lessons of Hurricane Katrina and promise to get the work done quickly. But on the eve of Katrina's one-year anniversary, the current state of New Orleans ain't good. Ain't good, folks. Less than half of the city's pre-storm population of 460,000 has returned, putting the population at roughly what it was in 1880. Nearly a third of the trash has yet to be picked up. 60% of homes still lack electricity. Oh, it sounds like Baghdad. 17% of the buses are operational. Half the physicians have left. There's a shortage of 1,000 nurses. 6 of the 9 hospitals remain closed. 66% of public schools have reopened. A 40% hike in rental rates, disproportionately affecting black and low-income families. A 300% increase in the suicide rate. 84% of New Orleans residents rate the government's recovery efforts negatively, while 66% believe the recovery money has been mostly wasted. Other than that, everything is just...
Oh, we're fine.
Hunky-dory, as Bob Schieffer would say. Now, when is what's her name, Katie Couric, coming on there? Not that I'm going to watch it, but when is he supposed to get off of there already?
You know, I'm not keeping track.
Old fuddy-duddy. My God. He can't be a day over 100, can he? 11 past 11 at QM. Boy, I'm going to be glued, man. I got to hear that hour of power when the two guys take a shower together when they're cross-dressing. You think I'm going to be sitting here listening to that?
No.
No. Hey, Stogie's continues to be South Florida's top cigar shop with one of the broadest inventories, containing an outstanding selection of over 1,000 open boxes of cigars with all the top names that you know and love. Perdomo, Ashton VSG, Arturo Fuente, Padron, Monte Cristo, Romeo and Julieta, and lots more, including those special, hard-to-find and obscure cigars that you won't just find in every cigar shop. Buy your premium cigars for the price of seconds and stick around a while, linger a while, and enjoy your smooth smoke at Stogie's Wine Lounge featuring Pierre Andre, a 100% Pinot Noir, and lots of other fine wines from all around the world. You'll find Stogie's at 11612 North Kendall Drive, just a half-mile east of Exit 20 off the Turnpike, open every day, 7 days a week for your smoking, dining, and dancing pleasure. Call today to reserve all your favorite cigars at Stogie's. Call 305-598-9820. 305-598-9820. And when you stop into the shop, say hi to Mario and the girls, Sandra and Heather, and they'll give you a free cigar. Just for stopping in and saying hi, or whatever you want to say. That's Stogie's at 11612 North Kendall Drive in Kendall, 305-598-9820.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Marlins fans, it's the 2006 QAM Mercedes-Benz Grand Slam Inning Contest. If a Marlins player hits a Grand Slam in the 5th inning, you could win a 2-year lease of a Mercedes-Benz C230. For more information and to enter, log on to WQAM.com today. The 2006 Mercedes-Benz Grand Slam Inning Contest from Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Spread 'em and say cheese.
Welcome aboard the Fatwa Mountain. At all times, please keep your hands inside the car and your heads inside your fracas. Enjoy the ride.
11:15 at 560 WQM. While many gas stations were closed this morning because they were out of fuel, the ones that were open had few lines. George.
Oh, yeah?
A sign that much of the earlier fuel frenzy throughout South Florida has subsided, did it?
I think that's a crock.
This is what the Herald said. The Herald doesn't lie.
Yeah,
this is by
screw them.
Niala Budahu.
You don't think I
and
drove
Joseph
around?
Tartikoff. The supply situation is fine. Jim Smith of the Florida Petroleum Marketers and Convenience Store Association said this morning, the panic situation is what is out of line. Based on what I've seen, there can't be anybody else who needs gas out there. George.
Uh-huh.
That's what Jim Smith said.
Okay.
Fearful drivers, many of whom remembered a wait of at the few stations that had electricity after Wilma last year, crowded gas stations yesterday to fill up cars and portable containers to power generators. Sales in South Florida were about 6 times the normal rate yesterday, he said. Smith, who represents 5,300 gas stations and convenience store owners throughout the state, said this year about 20% had portable generators should the electricity go out. It damn well better not. Port Everglades, where much of South Florida gets its fuel supply, closed to vessels yesterday evening, Smith said, but added that trucks so far are still able to go in and out of the port and fill up on fuel that already stored there. The state had 200 million gallons of fuel on Monday, equal to a 10-day supply. So what's not to like, George? A Chevron owner in Kendall said drivers could speed up lines by pumping plus or premium gas. Well, what does that mean? On Monday, everyone was pumping regular. Oh, I see. Well, maybe they can't afford plus or premium gas. How do you like that, schmucko?
I'll take anything. I'll take ultra premium.
Which slowed down the process 10 to 15 minutes per car. At Exxon and the Shell station, I don't understand that. What different? Oh, in other words, they were all waiting for regular?
Okay.
Do you understand that?
No.
In other words, no matter what grade you're pumping, it doesn't take any longer no matter what grade. You follow what I'm saying? I don't understand that. An Exxon and Shell station within a mile of each other on North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale this morning each had yellow tape cordoning off the gas pumps, which Josh tells me that that's what's going on at BP right up the street from the station there.
Yes.
Is that what's going on?
Yes.
And George verified it. A familiar sign indicating there was no fuel to be had. But the headline says, some gas stations out of fuel, but open stations have few lines, and Jim Smith of the Florida Petroleum Marketers and Convenience Store Association said there can't be anyone else out there who needs gas. You think he's maybe getting a little bit carried away?
Maybe a little.
A little over the top? And don't be topping off your cars, you idiots, you morons. And don't be taking those 10 and 15 and 20-gallon containers and, hopping up more gas. Like some kind of a grubber tuchus, okay? There's some people, they want it all, man. All for me. You know what I'm saying?
All for me.
That's it. Greg Palast writes, hurricane expert threatened for pre-Katrina warnings. You see about this poor guy, Dr. Van Heerden?
No.
Well, that's what I'm hearing.
That's what you're hearing?
Don't blame the lady. Katrina killed no one in New Orleans. In fact, Katrina missed the city completely going wide to the east, writes Greg Palast, who's a real agent provocateur, if you ask me, a real troublemaker. It wasn't a hurricane that drowned, suffocated, dehydrated, and starved 1,500 people that week. The killing was done by a deadly duo, a failed emergency evacuation plan combined with faulty levees. Behind these twin figures lies a tale of cronyism, profiteering, and willful incompetence that takes us right to the steps of the White House. What a shock. This is the story you haven't been told, and the man who revealed it to me, Dr. Ivor Van Heerden, is putting his job on the line to tell it. Sounds like a Dutchman to me. Van Heerden. Doesn't that sound Dutch?
That's what I'm hearing.
Van Heerden isn't the typical whistleblower I usually deal with, writes Greg Palast. This is no minor player. He's deputy director of the Louisiana State University Hurricane Center. He's the top banana in his field. No one knew more about how to save New Orleans from a hurricane's devastation, and no one was a bigger target of an official and corporate campaign to bury the information. Here's what happened. Right after Katrina swamped the city, I called Washington to get a copy of the evacuation plan. Funny thing about the murderously failed plan for the evacuation of New Orleans, nobody can find it. That's right, it's missing. Maybe it got wet and sank in a flood. Whatever, nobody can find it. That's real bad. Here's the key thing about a successful emergency evacuation plan. You have to have copies of it, lots of copies, in firehouses and hospitals in the hands of every first responder. Secret evacuation plans don't work. I know. I worked on the hurricane evacuation plan for Long Island, New York, an elaborate multi-volume dossier. Specifically, I'm talking about the plan that was written or supposed to have been written 2 years ago by a company called Innovative Emergency Management. Oh, isn't that what we got?
Yeah.
Weird thing about IEM, their founder, Madhu Barawal, had no known experience in hurricane evacuations. She did, however, have a lot of experience in donating to Republicans. IEM and FEMA did begin a draft of a plan. The plan was that when a hurricane hit, everyone in the Crescent City would simply get the hell out of in their cars. Apparently, the IEM FEMA crew didn't know that 127,000 people in the city don't have cars. But Dr. Van Heerden knew that. It was his calculation. LSU knew that where these no-car people were, they mapped it and how to get them out. Dr. Van Heerden offered this life-saving info to FEMA. They wouldn't touch it. Then a state official told him to shut up, back off, or there'd be consequences for Van Heerden's position. This official now works for IEM. So I asked him what happened as a result of making no plans for those without wheels, a lot of them elderly and most of them poor. 1,500 of them drowned, that's the bottom line. The professor who had been talking to me in technicalities changed to a somber tone. They're still finding corpses, he said. Van Heerden is supposed to keep his mouth shut, but he won't. The deaths weigh on him. I wasn't going to listen to these sort of threats to let them shut me down, he said. Van Heerden had other disturbing news. The Hurricane Center's computer model showed the federal government had built the levees around the city a foot and a half too short. Like George, too short.
Right.
After Katrina, the Hurricane Center analyzed the flooding and found that had the levees had just that extra 18 inches, they would have been over top for only an hour and a half, not for 4 hours. In that case, the levees would have held and the city could have been saved. He had taken the warning about the levees all the way to George Bush's doorstep. I myself briefed senior officials, including somebody from the White House. He said the response, the university's trustees threatened his job. They didn't like what they were hearing. While in Baton Rouge, I dropped in on the headquarters of IEM, the evacuation contractors. The assistant to the CEO insisted they had a lot of experience with evacuation, but couldn't name a single city they'd planned for when they got the Big Easy contract, and still they couldn't produce the plan. An IEM press release in June 2004 boasted legendary expert James Lee Witt as a member of their team. That was impressive. It was also a lie. In fact, Witt had nothing to do with it. When I asked IEM point blank if Witt's name was used as a fraudulent hook to get the contract, their spokeswoman said weirdly, "We'll get back to you on that." What a response. Back at LSU, Van Heerden astonished me with the most serious charge of all. While showing me huge maps of the flooding, he told me the White House had withheld the information that, in fact, the levees were about to burst, and by Tuesday at dawn the city and more than 1,000 people would drown. Van Heerden said FEMA knew on Monday at 11 o'clock that the levees had breached. They took video. By midnight on Monday, the White House knew, but none of us knew. I was at the State Emergency Operations Center. Because the hurricane had missed the city that Monday night, evacuation effectively stopped, assuming the city had survived. It's been a full year now, and 73,000 New Orleans remain in FEMA trailers. Another 200,000, more than half the city's former residents, remain in temporary refuges. The city that CARE forgot, that's their official slogan, lost a higher percentage of homes than Berlin lost in WW2. It would be more accurate to call it the city that Bush forgot. Should they come home? Rebuild? Is it safe? Team Bush assures them there's nothing to worry about. FEMA won't respond to Van Heerden's revelations. However, the Bush administration has hired a consulting firm to fix the failed evacuation plan. The contractor, a Baton Rouge company called Innovative Emergency Management, IEM. How do you like that? Well, look at that. They got Brownie on.
Do you have any Republican friends?
Brownie Brown.
Well, I do. I've got quite a few Republican friends.
Well, good. I hope you have a party with them, okay? And then we all drown. How's that, Brownie? See, what did I just tell you? What was I just screaming about, shrieking about, geschrien about? Yeah, bring on the expert, Brownie Brown. He knows how to drown them with the best of them. I drown thanks to Brownie Brown. I bet you a lot of people are saying that. Probably about 1,500.
Could be a rap song.
900, with those guys from that movie, Four Brothers. Good movie, like I said. Check it out. 982 votes on the poll. What celebrity or athlete are you most tired of? I'll tell you one thing. I'm tired of Brownie Brown.
Do that planning.
Yeah, plan this. Tom Cruise, 254. Tommy.
You fairy.
How's the peeping, Tommy? Remember that scene?
Yes, I do.
254. Boy, he's so good. Philip Seymour Hoffman. The name of that movie, by the way, was the gambling movie?
Owning Mahoney.
That's it. Yeah, I remember it the other day, and then I forgot. But luckily, I looked it up.
Probably in the middle of the night, maybe 1 in the morning when somebody called.
Yeah, that's about when somebody called me at 1 in the morning on Friday night. Owning Mahoney. Nice going, Norma. You jackass. You simpleton.
You fairy.
Tom Cruise, 254. Paris Hilton, 205. Terrell Owens, 136. Who used to be Terrell Owens, but now he's Terrell. Tiger Woods, 80. Who's still the same as always. Just makes me sick. Britney Spears, 59. Oprah, 45. She makes me double sick. She makes me puke gigantic gobs and globs. Mel Gibson, 36. Donald Trump, 35. Star Jones, 33. Barry Bonds, 22. Madonna, 20. Bono, 13. Shaq has got 11.
Cube.
No, that's the wrong one. You notice how all those one-name people are Madonna, Bono, and Shaq all together there. Oprah, though, being the bitch that she is, she's got to be like way ahead of the pack. She's out in a league of her own. Jessica Simpson, 10. Whitney Houston, 7. Guarantee Osama voted 7 times. Jennifer Aniston, 7. George Clooney, 5, who makes really crappy movies, by the way. Do not waste your time watching Good Night and Good Luck. Oh, you were so right. You know, Ponderous would be a compliment for that movie.
Yeah, and that's tragic because,
Oh, yeah,
a lot of people should have seen that.
It's a compelling story, but the problem was the movie was just a lick and a smear. And
how are you going to muddle through that?
And ponderous, really boring. George Clooney, 5, a legend in his own mind. Brad Pitt, 3, and Lance Bass, still solamente uno. And you probably want to know why?
Why?
Well, I mean, in this audience, how many people do you think know who Lance Bass is?
Who?
Exactly, my point. 26 past 11 at 560 QAM.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Oh, my God.
Excuse me, but I do believe that sucks ass.
Pacific Air 121 seemed like a typical flight, but that was about to change.
There's something rubbing against my leg.
Kittens on a plane.
Oh, it's so adorable.
Samuel L. Jackson stars in the most anticipated movie of the summer, Kittens on a Plane.
Enough is enough.
I've had it with these mother... Oh, isn't he cute? Can I keep it? Can I please?
Cat Fancy Magazine says if you see only one movie about kittens on a plane, see Kittens on a Plane.
Oh, who's got a little pink nose? You do, don't you? Yes, you do. You really do. Oh, yes, you are so cute.
What the hell was that?
Here in Boulder
there she
County,
is.
who's been talking with John Mark Karr every day.
I just can't go more than an hour without hearing that voice. Keeps me going. Anyway, officials... I beg your pardon?
Going where?
And Josh will be very pleased since he was so psychotic about that movie, Snakes on a Plane, and trying to convince us that it did so great the first week, and it did 56... What was it, 15 million?
Yeah, I just said it was the leading movie.
But I told you, really weak number, man. In the second week, it went in the crapper. You couldn't find it with the Tidy Bowl man and Mr. Plumber. Couldn't find it. Just get way down in there with the Roto-Rooter guy, and you still can't find it. That's how deep in the toilet that movie is. And you want to know why? People they get spooked by snakes. They don't like snakes.
Beg your pardon?
They don't like snakes.
Oh.
It's spooky, man, spooky. And as a result, who the hell in their right mind wants to go see a movie about snakes on a plane? Ah, gross. Officials gathering at the Broward Emergency Operations Center for a press briefing this morning announced several measures being taken because of approaching Ernesto, including a decision to keep Broward schools closed on Wednesday, tomorrow. Of course, they already decided that before, but they said, well, let's just stick with it, right?
Right.
Now, I could say something about the radar. I could look at it again here, but I better not. I better keep my trap shut, okay?
Okay.
Because they're what do we know? They're the experts.
That's right.
We know nothing. We've only been through about 1,000 of these, including as far back as Andrew, but we know nothing. So I'm just keeping my mouth shut. But I will say this, and I won't say it. Also decided Fort Lauderdale Airport will close at 7 o'clock tonight. Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport closes at 7 o'clock tonight. The last flight in or out around 6:30 p.m. The passenger security check lines will close at 6 p.m., and many airlines will shut down before then. You better call your airline and check it out. Decision will be made on when the airport reopens after the worst of the storm passes. And speaking of the worst of the storm, I'm looking at it right now on the NOAA radar, on the hurricane radar, and it's not that long before it goes. There's some yellows and red, a little bit of red there, the outer bands that are coming, but the rest of it, it's a very big storm, but the bulk of it, the nastiest heavy-duty stuff, is south. And if it continues going to the northwest, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it.
Don't say it. It's going to the northwest.
Prepare for the worst. Cargo and passenger ship service at Port Everglades was shut down immediately, with the exception of ships and trucks handling petroleum, gas, and diesel. Josh has diesel, by the way. He wants you to know that. So he's not going to muscle you out for your other gas.
Yeah, I'm not waiting in lines like the rest of you clowns.
That is correct.
Oh, hey.
In fact, siphon some of his diesel out and see how that works in your van.
Sure.
Fuel trucks will continue to make deliveries as long as it's deemed safe. Cruise passengers are reminded to call their cruise lines for updated information. Broward Mayor Ben Graber said fuel trucks will continue to distribute gasoline to service stations throughout South Florida until the last possible moment today. And with that comment we had before from Jim Smith, nobody should not have gas. George, Graber said, well, that's what he says.
Yeah.
He's the expert, man. I'm the pervert. He's the expert.
Maybe that's just indeed.
No. Graber said that since Hurricane Wilma, the county and gas companies installed generators to ensure that fuel can be loaded onto trucks, even if the power's out at the rest of Port Everglades. This year, we can get the fuel out of the port onto the roads, Graber said. We have plenty of gasoline in those tanks, and nobody needs to worry, George. That's what everybody is saying. If Ben Graber says it, Jim Smith said it. Let's see. School Superintendent Frank Till in Broward said that the school's bus fleet of over 1,000 vehicles should be safe in the 5 lots across Broward. Well, who cares about that? During Hurricane Wilma, buses experienced very little damage. Of course, remember all those school buses that were like sitting there in New Orleans, and I was screaming and yelling and carrying on about, why aren't they using the school buses to evacuate all those poor bastards? And then, of course, the buses wound up being underwater.
Yeah.
When it was too late. Broward County Transit will assist in the evacuation of mobile home parks at right now, started at 10 o'clock this morning. Even the worst of the trailer trash ain't going to hang around there unless they're crazy, right?
Right.
In anticipation of tropical storm force winds, Broward County Transit expects to cease regular bus service at 3 this afternoon, depending on weather conditions. A lockdown of bridges began 8 o'clock this morning. Broward County government, we know that. Early voting suspended until further notice while they can rejigger your votes.
What'd you call me?
That's what the governor said. They got to retool the vote tally, and this gives them a golden opportunity to redo it. Yeah, I'm looking at that radar. I better get off of that thing, okay? I don't want to keep looking at that because then I'm going to be inclined to make statements that are going to get people like, oh, gee, 1,014 votes on the poll. How do you like that? Of course, we may have a captive audience today. I mean, what person other than you guys, what person in their right mind went to work today, right?
Nobody that didn't have to, I'm sure.
That is correct. Unless you have like a major must kind of job, like, like a radio broadcaster. Like, like an important news station like QAM. Now, what's the deal? In other words, they're not going to let you stay home tomorrow? Is that what they said?
That is what they said.
Well, how do they know what's going to happen? They don't know what's going on.
They don't care what's going to happen.
We don't know exactly where this thing is going to take a turn for the worst.
If we're underwater and so is my house and all points in between, I still have to come into work.
Well, you can use that same rubber raft that you came to America on.
Good thing I saved it. Better put some air in it, huh?
You better inflate that baby. Right. Get a hold of Stu Goss. Maybe he can blow some of that hot air from his ego in there. By the way, the guy's across the street. Oh, man. Anyway, Saddam Hussein, this is cute. Saddam Hussein has been forced to watch South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut, according to the film's creator, Matt Stone, co-creator. The former Iraqi leader is portrayed in the movie as a homosexual who's in a relationship with the devil, and Stone claims the prisoner is being forced to watch it repeatedly as he is held by U.S. Marines. I think they're doing a Clockwork Orange thing on him. They got his eyes propped open, and they're dropping the eye drops in there, and he's watching horror, watching himself portrayed as a...
You fairy!
The South Park movie was banned on release in Iraq 7 years ago. How do you like that? That's punishment worse than anybody could come up with. Oh, there's John Mark Karr, by the way, looking really like a crazy person.
Type of preference that he does. The challenge, let me respond to what Susan said.
Oh, Boulder District Attorney to face tough questions at noon Eastern Daylight Time. And, of course, if it's noon in the East, doesn't that mean it's noon in the West, Norma? You idiot. Just keep thinking that to yourself about that call, and I'm not making it up. I'm in Canada and you're in Canada, so if it's 10 o'clock here, I thought it would be 10 o'clock there.
Well, it's a skinny little
calling
country.
From Vancouver to
like
Toronto.
Japan.
An absolute simpleton, man. A real
You fairy.
queen. Goes to show you, man, smoking all that bad weed all those years. Plus, you can just imagine he was puffing up a storm there in Vancouver, huh?
I imagine.
What else would he have been there for?
No question. No comment. I mean,
puffing on a big one.
Yeah.
Well, 1,023 votes. Why do you use your own imagination?
No, I don't want to.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Hey, thanks for helping me out with the hurricane preparation. Gillies.
You're my friend, Mo. Ain't you my friend, Mo? Mo's my friend.
Shut up. We're going to go have another snorsage.
When did your power go out?
About a week before the storm got here.
Me too. Makes you wonder.
Yeah. It's really starting to flow now, like your show. Now, hold the ladder. I'm coming down.
What happens if I let go? Like
Why, I'm going to kill you.
You hurting, Mo? Maybe I can fix that with my... You like that? Look, I'm the tenure. Come out of here.
Speaking of that, guess who I don't see on the new schedule? How do you like that?
I don't know. I hadn't noticed.
Looks to me like Geldy's the missing link on the new schedule. Now, what I want you to do,
Yes.
I want you to go Google Miami radar, okay?
All right.
Oh, I forgot how slow that damn thing is there. Okay? The very top choice that comes up. Got it?
Got it. NWS image.
Click it.
Blah, blah.
Click it.
Clicking.
Get that map on there. Get that loop going. You got the map? You got that peninsula?
It's loading.
Oh, get out of here.
It's loading. It's drawing.
By the way, somebody needs to put Dan Abrams in jail. I got this horrible new, what do they call it, lockup on MSNBC?
Lockdown?
Lockup after Scarborough. They ought to lock him up. I see that on there. I think to myself, lock up my ass.
Okay, I'll get a big box.
Yeah, get a big cell.
All right, I don't have any movement yet, but I've got
No, you don't have any movement because you got to click. You see, go down there where it says reflectivity. See that in the middle on the left? Reflectivity. Can you handle it?
I'm looking.
This is pathetic. And click where it says loop, and it'll put in motion. It puts the motion in your casket if you don't get with us. Or alternately, you can go on. Huh? You got it? Is it moving? What are you doing?
I'm clicking.
Yeah, click this.
It's looping.
Okay. Now, you see what I'm saying about this? Because I don't...
Yeah, I know what you're saying that you don't want to say.
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking.
If they're saying it's going to continue going to the northwest for 24 hours... I mean, that precludes that northward jog that they were saying that it was going to go all of a sudden when it got to like Naples or thereabouts, all of a sudden turn to the east and go straight up the middle of the state. Isn't that what they've been saying?
That's what they've been saying.
Well, how the hell is that possible if it's going 13 miles an hour for the next 24 miles? That's over 300 miles. It puts it way out the hell in the Gulf. But I'm not saying that. Just pretend you didn't hear me say that.
Right.
But you do see what I'm thinking, don't you?
I do see.
Now, you see the outer bands are coming.
Since I've been following the tracking.
Look at it real closely, you can even see the boys in the band.
This happened once before last year when a hurricane was going west-northwest, and they kept saying that it was going to go north, and it just never did until it got to Mexico.
Right. I mean,
not that we want to say anything
like that. I'm not saying that we know what the hell it's going to do. What the hell do we know? But certainly based on what these NOAA hurricane advisories are saying, if it does what they're saying, then it ain't going to do what I don't know. Just like I said, get your gas, get your plywood, your visqueen, your generators, all your supplies, right? Your duct tape, lots of duct tape.
Lots of gas.
Lots and lots of gas. In fact, fill up every container you can find. Get all those little plastic jugs.
Yeah, chlorine bleach bottles, all that.
That's it. That's a good idea. Get your old Clorox bottle, fill it up with
the gas will dissolve it, and you'll probably
then
burn
get a match,
to death.
Put it in your mouth. President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad voiced defiance. What? That's his name.
I know.
The Iranian president voiced defiance today as the deadline neared for Iran to halt work in the West fears as they step toward building nuclear bombs. And he challenged President Bush to a televised debate. That is the all-time best. I don't crack out this laugh just for any story, but this one, I got to be honest with you. Where the hell is it? In a news conference, Ahmadinejad condemned the U.S. and British role in the world since WW2, but made no direct mention of the international nuclear confrontation, or as your president would say, nuclear. I suggest holding a live TV debate with Mr. George W. Bush to talk about world affairs and the ways to solve those issues, he said. The UN Security Council has given Iran until Thursday to suspend uranium enrichment, a process which can produce fuel for reactors or explosive materials for warheads, and has threatened sanctions unless it does so. Washington has called for a swift response if Iran doesn't meet the deadline, but analysts say divisions at the UN about how to handle Iran's file could delay such a move. How do you like that? He challenges the Bushmeister to a debate.
Well, Saddam did too, remember?
Can't you just... Yeah, in fact, this whole thing is shaping up just like that. They're giving them a deadline, and we're going to impose sanctions. And just look at all the good things that happened to all those Iraqi kids because of the UN sanctions.
Solved all their problems.
How their lives were enriched, yeah. Speaking of things in really bad taste besides MSNBC, well, you talk about a guy with a puffed-up ego, that Dan Abrams. Oh, well, he's the general manager now. But he keeps making appearances on her because he has to share his expertise with us, on John Carr and about New Orleans. Whatever the subject is, man, he's the expert. NBC explained, thank God I wasn't watching the Emmys, man. And you want to know why I don't watch the Emmys?
Because it's pointless, boring, it's a mutual admiration
society.
Beside that, you don't know any of those people.
Because I don't watch any of those shows.
Okay. I knew I'd hit it eventually.
I know that must come as a shock to some of our hipper, younger people in the audience, like Annie LeBaster.
There are no good shows that got nominated anyway.
No, you could have put the period after shows. Yeah, but 24 got all those awards. Is that any good?
I haven't watched it.
See?
I think I've seen one episode.
You seen 24?
It's supposed to be very popular.
No, but I heard it's good.
Oh, wow. NBC expressed regret Monday for an Emmy Awards comedy skit that included a mock plane crash and aired on the network the evening of the fatal Kentucky jetliner accident. You know, when they were on the wrong runway, the one that wasn't lit up, the one that was too short.
Oops.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I think we screwed up. Our hearts and prayers go out to the many families who lost loved ones in a plane crash in Kentucky on Sunday, and to the entire community that has suffered this terrible loss, NBC said in the statement the day after the ceremony, which rang really hollow. You know, it went over like a pregnant pole vaulter at the equator. Not too good. In no way would we ever want to make light of this terrible tragedy, NBC said. The filmed opening during the Emmy telecast was meant to spoof some of TV's most well-known scenes. The timing was unfortunate. We regret any unintentional pain it may have caused. A pre-recorded skit was broadcast as part of the live Emmy ceremony. Just hours after that commuter jet taking off in Lexington, Kentucky, crashed into a field and burst into flames, killing 49. Criticism of the sequence appeared on websites Sunday night, including the LA Times, with a columnist for the newspaper calling it cringe-inducing and of questionable taste. The airing of the skit, a spoof on the ABC plane crash drama Lost, was condemned by the general manager of NBC's Lexington affiliate, WLEX. It was a live telecast. We were completely helpless, Tim Gilbert was quoted as saying Sunday night on the Lexington Herald-Leader's website. By the time we did react, it was all over. At the station, we were as horrified as the people were at home. The segment, which opened the Emmy, started with host Conan O'Brien boarding a private plane to L.A. Asked by a stewardess if he was nervous about hosting the show, O'Brien answered, "Nervous? What could possibly go wrong?" The plane then pitched violently, and a crash was implied but not shown. Instead, the skit cut to O'Brien stranded on an island resembling the one in Lost. I think that's the problem at NBC. Maybe that's why they're sucking wind in the numbers there, because they're lost. Just like the guys across the street. They're lost. Wouldn't you say?
What?
Now, are you watching that loop?
I'm watching
the loop-de-loop?
It's kind of hypnotic when you...
Yeah, keep watching. It's like staring into that spin symbol on the
like a lava lamp, yeah.
By the way, speaking of that, when the hell are the slots coming to South Florida? Huh? Notice we don't hear any more about that since that Fred Grimm column. It was pretty grim news. And this Friday, you know what this Friday is going to be, don't you, on the calendar?
What? Good Friday?
1st of September.
Oh, yeah.
El 1 de Septiembre, whatever that is.
Yeah, and then what?
And then the 2nd and the 3rd. And you know the day that I'm coming back full-time, don't you?
9/11, baby.
9/11. The interesting part about that is not that it has anything to do with anything, but 9/11 was on a Tuesday, and I had come back from vacation on the day before on 9/10 in 2001 on Monday. Came back just in time. Remember that day? I'm sure you do.
I sure do.
And Geldy's on here going,
we got to talk about sports. What's this got to do with sports? Planes crashed into buildings. We want to talk about sports. What are we going to say about it?
That's one of the many reasons you won't hear him on here anytime soon. You probably will. Just like that bitch Rita Crosby. Took her show off the air, but boy, now she's all over the place. She's like a freaking disease. She's
vigorously defending him. The word coming in, he's telling reporters.
God almighty.
I mean, just squeaking and puking and just trying desperately to squeak out a few words and can't do it. Still can't do it. That's why MSNBC is sucking wind. Believe you me. Yeah, so we're looking at this thing, and there's that big blob, which I guess is the majority. That's the nastiest part of this tropical storm right now. It's still a tropical storm, by the way. Highest sustained winds, 45 miles an hour. But it's over those really warm waters, you know. And you notice the way they keep saying that because they're hoping like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Because the people are giving us that news. They're either in Atlanta or they're in New York or they're somewhere they'll be safe, like at Louis in the Bronx, you know. They're certainly not in Florida, like you poor bastards there, like I'm not. Although, wouldn't it be something if this thing whipped up like crazy and then came zooming up over western Pennsylvania and over those really warm waters of Lake Ontario and right there into like Scarborough would be good. Just blow it off the map. Do us all a public service. The world's oldest person dies. See, we usually have some dying news at the beginning of the show, and here it is almost noon already to show how many more important things are going on. Like John Mark Karr. I think he's a marked man, don't you?
Oh,
the man
God,
part I'm not too sure about. And I still don't think he's got a... Oh, sorry, Joyce. An appendage. Quito, Ecuador. Boy, have you seen the picture of this lady?
The one that died?
Yeah.
Yes. She looked old.
Yeah, well, she was only 116.
That's
she said she'd like to have a small cup of wine with lunch, but nothing more. I don't know what that means. With lunch, but nothing more. Do you know what that means?
The wine?
No, but it doesn't say for lunch, but it says she'd like to have a small cup of wine with lunch, but nothing more. I don't know. In other words, it's not a gallon of booze. I don't know what that means.
Oh, like not more. Yeah, not more than that.
Maria Esther de Quepovilla, believed to be the world's oldest person, died at the age of 116 in Quito, Ecuador, her granddaughter said. Have you ever seen a spot where the guy is 100 years old and he plays the trumpet?
Yes.
I love that spot.
That is a good spot.
That is a cool old dude, man. If we had more old folks in Florida like him.
He's
driving, he's playing a horn on Friday nights. He's at the Pine Cone Inn.
That's right. Friday. If it's Friday, I'm at the Pine Cone Inn.
Right. I love that spot. He's my kind of
he's
old
an inspiration.
Fart, man. He's 100 years old and he's still spry. Isn't that great?
I bet you he's not going to the early bird.
I bet you he don't live in Sunrise Lakes.
No.
Catherine Capovilla, 46, property manager and real estate manager in Miami, where they specialize in old people, said Capovilla died Sunday at 3 o'clock in the morning local time in a hospital in the coastal city of Guayaquil. She died 2 days after that. Those are the only two cities I've ever heard of in Ecuador, Quito and Guayaquil. Maybe those are the only two cities in Ecuador. She died 2 days after coming down with pneumonia. Her funeral was planned for yesterday, so I guess she's in the ground. or on the ground. Born on September 14th, 1889, the same year as Charlie Chaplin and Adolf Hitler, she was married in 1917 and widowed in 1949. Robert Young, who knows best, senior consultant for gerontology for Guinness World Records, said Elizabeth Bolden of Memphis, Tennessee, now appears to be the oldest person alive. Guinness Book of Records will have to make an official announcement from London, he said. For all practical purposes, the next oldest person is going to be presumed to be Elizabeth Bolden. She also is 116, but was born 11 months after Capovilla. So isn't that quite an accomplishment? Isn't that something you'd like to be, the oldest person alive?
Whatever.
No. Oh, yeah, she liked, she liked to embroider, paint, play the piano, and dance the waltz at parties. She always ate 3 meals a day, never smoked or drank hard liquor, only a small cup of wine. That's what that meant, see? Just to try the wine, just a little sip. Like, remember Marlon Brando, just a little sip.
Mm-hmm.
For the past 20 years, she'd lived with her elder daughter, Hilda, and son-in-law, Martin. Who's probably out of this world. Remember Martin?
Who?
Bill Bixby.
Oh.
Let's see how many votes we got here. We're approaching noon. We got Mad Dog at 2. We got the crossover, the cross-dress hour with 4 to 5 with Hank and the Mad Dog. The Humper back where he belongs in the afternoon between 5 and 7 after a year and a half of disaster. And then we got, what? Oh, Hurricane Hotline with Larry Coker at 7 o'clock. For 35 excruciating minutes, followed by the Marlin game. Man, you're going to see all them front-running phonies jumping on the bandwagon now. They've won 8 in a row. They're only 2 games under the wild card. They're only, am I right, only 2 games under 500?
Yeah, that's right.
Yo, that really is...
Unbelievable.
And the best part of it is that Jeffrey Luria hates Joe Girardi because he's doing such a bad job managing and because he's got an attitude, Luria. Did you see that article?
I saw that.
Yeah, they had a little contretemps there, and Luria, he's an idiot.
The biggest names of best talent. This
you go, Joe.
Rogers.
Stick it to him, baby.
Radio 560 QAM. This is Mark Morgan. It's the 12 to 1 hour on QAM.
Caffeine. Apply directly to the brainstem. Caffeine. Apply directly to the brainstem. Caffeine. Apply directly to the brainstem.
Sir, do you have any liquids?
I'm not telling.
Oh, you must be gelling.
Oh, does that make me a felon?
Hey, no need for yelling. Let me get my supervisor, Ellen.
Sir, are you gelling?
Oh, your question is compelling.
Let's see what the dogs are smelling. You are so gelling.
Oh, you caught me, you infidelins.
Let's go. In Gitmo, you'll be dwelling.
Yeah, I thought I'd play it again right away since you liked it so much the first time.
Still like it.
What's not to like?
That's from ACN?
That certainly is.
All right.
Don't tell me that you haven't played that yet.
I haven't found it yet, no. I don't even know if I have that disc yet.
Well, good. I'm going to play them all about 100 times just to get the jump on you. 5670560. What am I giving the numbers out? I already took a call.
Something to do.
Huh? I already took one call. If I were you, I'd get a full tank of gas, fill up about 400 containers, and then sit at home and put some duct tape over your mouth. Do I have that article? Oh, yeah. You know who's going to have a nervous breakdown about this story? Pat Buchanan, who's on he's even on, like, MTV now, screaming and yelling about Mexicans and about all these illegals who are taking over the country. And this is going to be right up his alley. Los Angeles blogger Lone Wacko reports an incident this weekend that should be entering heavy rotation any minute now in the mainstream media, right? Rogers Cadenhead on Workbench. Hispanic pro-immigration demonstrators raised a Mexican flag over a U.S. post office in Maywood, California, Saturday as part of a counter-demonstration against Save Our State, an anti-immigration group that claims California is becoming a third-world cesspool. Oh, third-world cesspool. I've lived in places like that. Maywood became a flashpoint in the escalating immigration debate when elected officials in the L.A. area city of 25,000, which is 96% Hispanic, declared it a sanctuary for illegal immigrants and took steps to make enforcement more difficult. The L.A. Times covered the competing Maywood protest but did not report on the flag-raising, which was witnessed by commentator Bridget Johnson of the L.A. Daily News, who wrote, after the local post office took down the American flag at closing time, pro-immigration demonstrators promptly ran the Mexican flag up the flagpole. Eventually, police officers surrounded the flagpole and tried to get the Mexican flag down, but the cords got twisted, and they could only lower it to half staff. It says, raising a Mexican flag over a U.S. government building is a flagrantly offensive gesture against a country that has celebrated immigration, supported bilingualism, and teaches school children to believe the melting pot is one of our strengths. This stunt is as ugly as the Mexifornia rhetoric coming from groups like Save Our State, and you have to wonder if the stupidity it says that would inspire activists to be so damaging to their own efforts. And now, of course, Pat Buchanan's going to be all over this like stink on Joyce.
Good.
Yeah.
That sentence
right.
you read.
I mean, who can imagine people doing that? It would be like people in South Florida driving around with Cuban flags in their cars.
Who would do such a thing?
Such things like that.
Incredible.
Unacceptable is what that is. Oh, they're having a big trying to defend the indefensible in Boulder, Colorado.
He said, this was a voicemail. He said you should be tarred and feathered and run out of town.
And
I agree.
I want you to call me and tell me that you're going to resign. You know, that's pretty harsh, and it's not just one. There were a lot of calls like that. I called him back, and
this is the Boulder, Colorado
he said, well, first of all,
DA.
I'm surprised that you called me, but he started with
Bad
a series
hum on
of
her
questions,
line.
and I'm imagining that his questions are the same questions on the top of your mind.
Yeah, well, spill the beans,
his first question was, why didn't you surreptitiously take DNA in Bangkok?
Why did you put us through all this dog and pony show, which helped change the subject for your president, by the way?
We did.
Yeah, and?
Immediately upon
I think they took some DNA from his
rectum, who went to mailboxes to pick up a package that we sent to him, 2 different officers took DNA off of the bicycle that he rode back. On a separate occasion,
I bet you they even sniffed the bicycle seat.
A cup that he used to drink from and a tissue or wipe that he used to wipe his hands. The bottom line is that after we did that, our expert, and we put a great deal of respect in our expert from the Denver lab, said that the sample in the underwear of the victim was a mixed sample, and that we do not want to compare a mixed sample with a mixed sample. We need a pristine sample. That means a buccal swab. A buccal swab can only be taken by consent or by court proceeding or court order. We couldn't get his consent because he didn't know he was under investigation, and we couldn't alert him at that time. This gentleman had a number of other questions. And, you know, I'm going to have to rely on the people here today to help me out to answer the specifics of the dates and times.
Do we care about this? I don't.
No, but that buzz, that hum sure was nice.
Oh, okay.
Or more.
Well, let's just put the hum on here and get her ass out of there. Because she's just mealy-mouthing her way through, bada-beep, bada-boop. And it's good that they did bring him back, even though they spent a ton of money and they fed him all that good food on the plane.
He drank champagne!
Right. Because he's a notorious... And this business about, well, he's going to need counseling, you know, he's going back to California to stand for the child pornography charges. But then after he's eventually released, he's going to need counseling. These people don't understand. You can't counsel child molesters. There's no such thing.
Right.
It doesn't... Put them on Alcatraz. Put them on an island separate from everybody else. That's the way to do it.
That's it.
With a bunch of other pedophiles and a bunch of Catholic priests. Excuse the redundancy. Stephen Zunes in Foreign Policy in Focus writes how Washington goaded Israel. Did you read this column on our website?
No.
Well, I bet you Josh got it on there nice and early.
Yes, I did.
Good. I don't even want to go into it. It's amazing when they screw up your paycheck how it can turn into all these other things. But that's good that you guys had that meeting yesterday.
It was fun.
Got everything ironed out. I'm glad that George Corso was involved because he's certainly a big fan of this show. In fact, I put him almost in the same category with Joyce. And your program director, too, by the way. I think I better do the break first because I'm not going to give this a lick and a schmear, as they say in China.
Good.
Well, no, it's too important because this is really what it was all about. And didn't I tell you that Bush was behind that whole Lebanon invasion again, that whole deal?
Yes, you did.
Told you that. Didn't take a rocket scientist. If somebody as stupid as me could figure it out, anybody could figure it out. But, oh, no, the mainstream media. There you go again with the mainstream media, all that crap. How's that map looking, that radar? Let me hop on it again before the break. Huh? Is it swirling around?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look out the window there, which you don't have one. See, that's... But we do have the fantastic news-gathering information of the QM News Department. Remember years ago when Clarence told us we were going to get a news wire? We were going to get this? He's full of it, Clarence. You're full of it. And nice job faxing the trends to somebody else, by the way, twice, and starting a third time on Friday. He can really do it. I don't know when he's going to start, but he can really do it. Okay, I'm having the same issues as you're having there. Oh, there it is, finally. No, it's moving. It's doing the loop-de-loop. And I don't know. Are you looking at it?
Oh, I'm looking at the prediction map.
I mean, unless it makes a right turn, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that nasty outer band there, that one that's just off east of, I would say, I don't know, maybe Homestead right now? No, actually east of Miami right now, a little further north than I was saying. That band that's coming by, There's going to be some nasty crap coming from that. But this thing is going to have to, all of a sudden stop and then make a right turn, wouldn't you think?
It would have to, like, shoot straight north
right.
to hit it.
And they keep telling us that it's moving northwest. And what I'm looking at, as it puts the motion in my casket, it looks to me like it's continuing to move to the northwest, just like they be saying, isn't it?
I don't want to say nothing.
Oh. Well, like I said, we know absolutely nothing.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
This is G. Gordon Liddy, and they don't come any worse than Neil Rogers.
Daimler Chrysler presents Letters to Dr. Z.
Dear Dr. Z, I really want a new minivan, but my husband doesn't. How can I convince him? Very interesting.
Oh, Dr. Z! Oh, thanks for coming over.
Yeah, where's your husband?
Oh, he's watching TV.
Guten Tag, mein Herr.
Who are you?
I'm Dr. Z. Mind if I smoke?
Yeah, actually.
Now, you know the Chrysler Town and Country won the JT Power Award, yes?
Yeah, but I don't want... Oh, my hand!
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see your boo-boo. I think you're going to want to buy your wife the van, no? Okay. Good. Daimler Chrysler, we have ways of making you buy one.
Boulder County, who's been talking with John Mark every day.
It makes me want to clear my throat every time I hear it.
Oh, yeah. It's just
like a sympathetic frog.
Makes you want to scratch your head and wonder what is going on. Now, anyway, speaking of Dr. Z, I bet you a lot of you have been wondering about who he is, haven't you?
Who is Dr. Z?
Have you been wondering?
The mysterious Dr. Z.
Well, anyway, Daimler Chrysler has been airing an inane series of commercials featuring the troubled auto manufacturer's chairman, Dr. Dieter Zetsche. Rhymes with Getschke.
Now is the time I sprockets when we dance.
The $100 million Ask Dr. Z television, newspaper, and internet campaign depicts the 6'4", mustachioed PhD engineer from Stuttgart, Germany, answering dopey questions posed to him by actors. Although not anywhere in the same category with the great spots from, insurance. Geico. Yeah, Little Richard is my favorite. And then, what's her name? Hoochie Coochie Charo. And then, of course, the other guy with the deep voice. Who's doing the melodramatic, Stephen Zuhn's How Washington Goaded Israel. He says there is increasing evidence that Israel instigated a disastrous war in Lebanon, largely at the behest of the United States. The Bush administration was set on crippling Hezbollah, the radical Shiite political movement that maintains a sizable block of seats in the Lebanese parliament. Taking advantage of the country's democratic opening after the forced departure of Syrian troops last year, Hezbollah defied U.S. efforts to democratize the region on American terms. The Populist Party's unwillingness to disarm its militias required by UN resolution and the inability of the pro-Western Lebanese government to force them to do so led the Bush administration to push Israel to take military action. In his May 23rd summit with Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, President Bush offered full U.S. support for Israel to attack Lebanon as soon as possible. Seymour Hersh in the August 21st New Yorker quotes a Pentagon consultant on the Bush administration's long-standing desire to strike a preemptive blow against Hezbollah. The consultant added it was our intent to have Hezbollah diminished, and now we have someone else doing it. Israel was a willing partner. Although numerous Israeli press reports indicate that some Israeli officials, including top military officials, are furious at Bush for pushing Olmert into war, the Israeli government had been planning the attack since 2004. According to a July 21st article in the San Francisco Chronicle, Israel had briefed U.S. officials with details of the plans, including PowerPoint presentations, in what the newspaper described as revealing detail. Political science professor Gerald Steinberg of Bar Ilan University told the Chronicle that of all of Israel's wars since 1948, this was the one for which Israel was most prepared. In a sense, the preparation began in May of 2000, immediately after the Israeli withdrawal. Kind of like when your mother comes over to visit. The minute she walks out the door, she's planning on coming back. Despite these preparations, the Bush administration and congressional leaders of both parties tried to present the devastating attacks, which took as many as 800, well, it's more than 1,300 civilian lives, as a spontaneous reaction to Hezbollah's provocative July 12th attack on an Israeli border post and its seizure of 2 soldiers. Some reports have indicated that Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld was less sanguine than Vice President Cheney, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, or President Bush about the proposed Israeli military offensive. Rumsfeld apparently believed that Israel should focus less on bombing and more on ground operations, despite the dramatically higher Israeli casualties that would result. Still, Hersh quotes a former senior intelligence official as saying that Rumsfeld was delighted that Israel is our stalking horse. It had worked out really well. The recent announcement of a shaky ceasefire may represent only a minor speed bump in U.S. plans. After all, the attack on Hezbollah was only the first stage of what the Bush administration apparently hopes will be a joint redrawing of the Middle East map. On July 30th, the Jerusalem Post reported that President Bush pushed Israel to expand the war beyond Lebanon and attack Syria. Israeli officials apparently found the idea nuts. This idea was not exactly secret. In support of the Israeli offensive, the Office of the White House press secretary released a list of talking points that included references to a L.A. Times op-ed by Max Boot, senior fellow for national security studies at the Council on Foreign Relations. The article, "It's Time to Let the Israelis Take Off the Gloves," urges an Israeli attack against Syria. Israel needs to hit the Assad regime hard, argues Boot. If it does, it'll be doing Washington's dirty work. Iran, too, was in the administration's sights. The Israeli attack on Lebanon, according to Seymour Hersh, was to serve as a prelude to a potential American preemptive attack to destroy Iran's nuclear installations. But first, the Bush administration needed to get rid of Hezbollah's capacity to retaliate against Israel in the event of a U.S. strike on Iran, which apparently prompted Hezbollah's buildup of Iranian-supplied missiles in the first place. Starting this spring, according to Hersh, the White House ordered top planners from the U.S. Air Force to consult with their Israeli counterparts on a war plan against Iran that incorporated an Israeli preemptive strike against Hezbollah. Lieutenant General Dan Halutz, the chief of staff of the Israeli military and principal architect of the war on Lebanon, worked with U.S. officials on contingency planning for an air war with Iran. The Bush administration's larger goal apparently had been to form an alliance of pro-Western Sunni Arab dictatorships, primarily Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan, against the growing Shiite militancy exemplified by Hezbollah in Iran, and to a lesser extent post-Saddam Iraq. Though the Sunni regimes initially spoke out against Hezbollah's provocative capture of the 2 Israeli soldiers that prompted the Israeli attacks, popular opposition within these countries to the ferocity of the Israeli assault led them to rally solidly against the U.S.-backed war on Lebanon. In the years prior to Israel's July 12 bombing of Lebanese cities, Hezbollah had become less and less of a threat. It hadn't killed any Israeli civilians for more than a decade, with the exception of one accidental fatality in 2003 caused by an anti-aircraft missile fired an Israeli plane that violated Lebanese airspace. Investigations by the Congressional Research Service, the State Department, and independent think tanks failed to identify any major act of terrorism by Hezbollah for over a dozen years. Prior to the attack, Hezbollah's militia had dwindled to about 1,000 men under arms. This number tripled after July 12th when reserves were called up, and a national dialogue was going on between Hezbollah and the government of pro-Western Prime Minister Sinura regarding disarmament. The majority of Lebanese opposed Hezbollah, both its reactionary fundamentalist social agenda, as well as its insistence on maintaining an armed presence independent of the country's elected government. Thanks to the U.S.-backed Israeli attacks on Lebanon's civilian infrastructure, support for Hezbollah, according to polls, has grown to more than 80%, even within the Sunni, Muslim, and Christian communities. Even Richard Armitage, remember him? He outed the Valerie plane, we found out?
Right.
Even Richard Armitage, the leading hawk and Deputy Secretary of State under President Bush during his first term, noted that the only thing the bombing has achieved so far is to unite the population against the Israelis. Despite U.S. encouragement that Israel continue the war, Israel's right-wing prime minister has come under increasing criticism at home, with polls from Haaretz newspaper indicating that only 39% of Israelis would support the planned expansion of the ground offensive. Meretz Party Knesset member Rand Cohen, writing in the Jerusalem Post, called earlier moves to expand the ground offensive a wretched decision. Yariv Oppenheimer, general director of Peace Now, which had earlier muted its criticism of the attacks on Lebanon, noted the war has spiraled out of control and the government is ignoring the political options available. Not only have a growing number of Israelis acknowledged that the war has been a disaster for Israel, there's a growing recognition of U.S. responsibility for getting them into that mess. A July 23rd article in Haaretz about an anti-war demonstration in Tel Aviv noted this was a distinctly anti-American protest that included chants of "We will not die and kill in the service of the United States" and slogans condemning President George W. Bush. Members of Congress who have unconditionally backed Israel's attacks on Lebanon have responded to constituent outrage by claiming they were simply defending Israel's legitimate interests. In supporting the Bush administration, however, they've defended policies that cynically use Israel to advance the administration's militarist agenda. One of the more unsettling aspects of the broad support in Washington for the use of Israel as U.S. proxy in the Middle East is how closely it corresponds to historic anti-Semitism. In past centuries, the ruling elite of European countries would, in return for granting limited religious and cultural autonomy, establish certain individuals in the Jewish community as the visible agents of the oppressive social order, such as tax collectors and moneylenders. When the population threatened to rise up against the ruling elite, the rulers could then blame the Jews, channeling the wrath of an exploited people against convenient scapegoats. The resulting pogroms and waves of repression took place throughout the Jewish diaspora. Zionists hoped to break this cycle by creating a Jewish nation-state where Jews would no longer be dependent on the ruling elite of a given country. The tragic irony is that by using Israel to wage proxy war to promote U.S. hegemony in the region, this cycle is being perpetuated on a global scale. This latest orgy of American-inspired Israeli violence has led to a dangerous upsurge in anti-Semitism in the Middle East and throughout the world. In the U.S., many critics of U.S. policy are blaming the Zionist lobby for U.S. support for Israel's attacks on Lebanon rather than the Bush administration and its bipartisan congressional allies who encouraged Israel to wage war on Lebanon in the first place. Unfortunately, most anti-war protests in major U.S. cities have targeted the Israeli consulate rather than U.S. government buildings. By contrast, during the 80s, protests against the U.S.-backed violence in El Salvador rarely targeted Salvadoran consulates, but instead more appropriately took place outside federal offices and arms depots, recognizing that the violence wouldn't be taking place without U.S. weapons and support. Israel is no banana republic. Even those like Hirsch who recognize the key role of the Bush administration in goading Israel to attack Lebanon emphasize that rightist elements within Israel had their own reasons independent of Washington to pursue the conflict. Still, given Israel's enormous military, economic, and political dependence on the U.S., this latest war on Lebanon could not have taken place without a green light from Washington. President Jimmy Carter, for example, was able to put a halt to Israel's 78 invasion of Lebanon within days and force the Israeli army to withdraw from the south bank of the Litani River to a narrow strip just north of the Israeli border. By contrast, the Bush administration and an overwhelming bipartisan majority of Congress clearly believed it was in the U.S. interest for Israel to pursue Washington's dirty work for an indefinite period, regardless of its negative implications for Israel's legitimate security interests. Given the lack of success of the Israeli military campaign, U.S. planners are likely having second thoughts about the ease with which a U.S.-led bombing campaign could achieve victory over Iran. However, the propensity of the Bush administration to ignore historical lessons should not be underestimated. A former senior intelligence official told Hirsch that there is no way that Rumsfeld and Cheney will draw the right conclusion about this. When the smoke clears, they'll say it was a success. They'll draw reinforcement for their plan to attack Iran. Indeed, on August 14, President Bush declared that Israel had achieved victory in its fight against Hezbollah. The outspoken support of congressional Democrats for Bush's policies in Israel's war on Lebanon portends similar support should the U.S. ignore history and common sense and attack Iran anyway. Both the Senate and the House in backing administration policy claimed that, contrary to the broad consensus of international opinion, Israel's military actions were consistent with international law and the UN Charter. By this logic, if Israel's wanton destruction of a small democratic country's civilian infrastructure because of a minor border incident instigated by members of a 3,000-man militia of a minority party is a legitimate act of self-defense, surely a similar U.S. attack against Iran, a much larger country with a sizable armed force whose hardline government might be developing nuclear weapons, could also be seen as a legitimate act of self-defense. Ironically, political action committees sponsored by liberal groups such as MoveOn.org, Peace Action, and Act for Change continue to support the election or re-election of congressional candidates who voice support for Washington's proxy war against Lebanon. Despite massive Israeli violations of international humanitarian law, it's serving as a trial run for U.S. war against Iran, and it's being against Israel's legitimate self-interests. And unfortunately, on the other extreme, some of the more outspoken elements that have opposed America's proxy war against Lebanon frankly don't have Israel's best interest in mind. As a result, without a dramatic increase in protest by those who see Washington's cynical use of Israel as bad for virtually everyone, there's little chance that this dangerous and immoral policy can be reversed.
Tommy?
Yeah, there you go. Well, those Lebanese shouldn't have attacked them in the first place, right?
That's right.
I'm looking at that thing now. That it's got the loop in motion, baby. It's doing the loop-de-loop. And some nasty yellow and reds right over Key West there. You see that?
When's the next advisory? 2 something?
2 o'clock. Around me about 1:45, okay? If we're still alive.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Just a reminder for our radio listeners that the end of the world is going to come next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m., and the Department of Health has requested homeowners to unplug all electrical appliances, turn off radios and TV sets, and disconnect gas stoves and furnaces. The post office recommends that you mail early in the day, and for those with automobiles, alternate side of the street parking will be suspended. That's the end of the world next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Mark it down.
All right. Lebanese and Israelis, there's a conflict in the Middle East, and it's not very small. It could be the start of World War III. We all know those people are insane on that part of the globe.
Absolutely.
With all those guns, what will spill? As I watch them kill each other, I keep wondering why they're all gonna die. Lebanese
Take a look at Key West and at Marathon there. Some nasty yellow-looking crap there on the radar.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, nasty. Anyway, the leading edge of Tropical Storm Ernesto reached the upper Florida Keys this morning and soon is edging into Dade and Broward counties very, very soon. Just like what's-his-name said there on the Ron and Ron show. Ron Diaz.
Soon. Very soon.
Yeah. Remember that? How could you forget? Forecasters expressed particular concern over the possibility of tornadoes. High clouds blanketed most of South Florida and a long day and night of rain and gusty winds is in store for the region. 5 to 15 inches of rain possible. Flooding and power outages are likely, George.
Oh, boy.
Wouldn't that be a shame if the power went out at QM tomorrow? But you got that generator, you got that backup.
Yeah. Hey,
right?
if it's storming here at 8 in the morning in this town, you think I'm driving in?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think, Josh? You going to be there?
We'll see. Power lines are down in and trees are...
Get out of here. Power lines my ass. You're a crazy person. What are you talking about? Power lines are. What are you? Where are you coming up with this crap?
You've been away a long time.
It sounds to me
you don't
like
understand.
you're looking for an excuse not to work tomorrow. That's what it sounds like to me.
Sure, but you remember, if there's a breeze, all the power lines come down in this town.
A breeze in between the trees and your knees?
Sure.
Louise?
The finesse de breeze.
Forecasters said Ernesto said it would arrive tonight as a very strong tropical storm or Cat 1 hurricane, but most of its weather was ahead, behind, and to the right of the center, and much of it will sweep through South Florida. In fact, you can see that one nasty outer band there. It's getting pretty close, and then it's going to, like, whip right across. You see where I'm talking about? Which one? The northernmost one?
The band on the run.
The band on the run. The boys in the band. It's getting real close to Miami. Well, actually, the one lower than that. I don't know. The thing doesn't look all that well organized to me when they keep talking about the eye. I don't know. Do you see any eye in that?
I don't see any of any color.
What do you mean?
The eye. I don't see a blue eye, a red eye.
Yeah, but do you see one of those? I think that's the one right by Sweetwater. Hurricane watches and tropical storm warnings cover all of South Florida. Sudden tornadoes are a distinct and frightening possibility, says the Herald website. A frightening possibility.
Oh, my God.
We're seeing a lot of rotation in the spiral bands over the ocean, which suggests that we could have some tornadoes on land, said Rusty Fost, meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service's South Florida office. Rusty Fost. This threat is very real, old Rusty said. The problem with typical tropical cyclone tornadoes is that, and by the way, I did do a lick in the schmear in that article. I should probably read it again slower.
I think you should.
Now, the problem with tropical cyclone tornadoes is that they're very fast in developing and it's hard to get a warning out. Schools closed today, we already told you, in Dade Broward. Limited evacuations ordered. Shelters open in both counties. Fort Lauderdale Airport closed tonight by 7:30 p.m. Last flight of the day will leave Miami International at 7:45 p.m. if conditions permit. But they're on the verge also. The weather will continue to deteriorate this afternoon, with the worst of it arriving overnight. Forecasters and emergency managers urge South Floridians to take advantage of these last few hours of decent weather and rush to completion all pre-storm preparations, including the shuttering of their homes and businesses. Get with it. Get jiggy with it. Get up that plywood. Get that visqueen. Get that duct tape. Get those jugs and jugs. Go into your supermarket, your neighborhood Publix, and clean out all the perishables, all the foodstuffs. Bring it. This and all the canned goods, batteries, bottled water. That's right. Go to your nearest Home Depot, buy out every generator that they've got so nobody else can have one. Because that's the South Florida effing way, baby. These are the kinds of winds that knock traffic lights out, Foss said. People are going to have to be careful driving around tomorrow. Remember that when there's no light, it's a four-way stop. Oh, yeah, even when there is a light, you're talking South Florida, man. Four-way stop my ass. At 11 a.m., Ernesto's top winds were measured at 45 miles an hour. We got that newer advisory coming at 2. The latest advisory, about 145, 150. Winds predicted to reach 65 miles an hour when the center of the storm hits Florida around midnight or a few hours later. Hurricane-force winds begin at 74. So not quite a hurricane, maybe, but close. To me, there's not a lot of difference between 70, 80-mile winds, said Dade Mayor Carlos Alvarez. This is a dangerous storm. If you haven't done so, make your preparations now. Fost, whatever his name is, said sustained tropical storm force winds of 39 miles an hour should begin over South Miami-Dade late this evening, then spread across the mainland of South Florida through the night. Strong tropical force winds of 58 miles an hour or more with gusts to near hurricane force will start affecting Dade around midnight, then spread across Broward by 4 in the morning. Fost warned of 5 to 15 inches of rain, the possibility of substantial inland flooding, and serious coastal flooding, especially around the north end of Biscayne Bay and around the causeways and beach access roads in that area. Many thousands of people still live under blue tarps that cover roofs damaged by last year's barrage of hurricanes. It says they could be in trouble tonight. Where else can I go, said Mark Moss, 53 at Pompano Beach. He's working on his third tarp to keep the rain away. I'm just hoping the storm goes out into the ocean. Federal officials positioned hundreds of trucks filled with ice and water. The National Guard stands on alert. Spokesman for local airports said airlines might have to suspend operations tonight. They will. In Broward County, bus service will continue till 3. Dade until weather conditions deteriorate. And it goes on about the gas. George needs gas.
Yeah.
Just siphon some out of somebody else's car there.
You can't siphon anymore, man.
Why not?
They put a little, grate that's not so great inside.
Oh, great.
So you can't stick your...
tube. Oh, you can't stick your... Oh, I'm a little slow.
Tube!
In there,
yeah.
I thought you were thinking of something else.
Not that I didn't try.
Biggest names, the best talent.
Stick it right in
This is
there.
Neil Rogers.
Tube!
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Howard David's a bitch.
Tonight on American Chopper, the OCC crew creates the Caddyshack tribute bike.
I was fabricating the gas tank, and as usual, Pop was no help.
Hey, Paulie, that's the worst looking tank I ever saw. When you make a tank like that, I bet you get a free bowl of soup, huh? Whoa, somebody step on a duck? When the job is done, the Tuttles create another masterpiece.
Hey, Vinny, this bike reminds me of the one I made for the Dalai Lama himself. 12th Senator Lama, flowing robes, the grace, bald, striking. So I finished the bike, and he's going to stiff me. I said, hey, Lama, hey, how about a little something, for the effort? And he says, oh, there won't be any money, but when you die on your deathbed, you'll receive total consciousness.
The Caddyshack bike, tonight on American Chopper.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Yeah, 12:48, 12 minutes till 1. At 2 o'clock, it's the Mad Dog.
Oh!
We'll get back to the important stuff, sports, right?
That's right.
Who cares about some stupid hurricane unless, of course, it wears orange uniform and plays for UM?
You know it.
Let's see, Lebanon, the baseball team don't wear orange uniforms. What about the basketball team? I guess I don't even think I've ever seen their basketball team. No, they like green. Isn't it green and orange? Josh?
Yeah. Wait. Who?
Doug Wade, hockey player.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
The University of Miami basketball team, the colors of their uniform is green and orange, isn't it?
No, white and green.
White and green?
Well, a little orange, just in
And what about the Mexican flag that we're running up the flagpole? Lebanon. Oh, there's your president. Another photo op after really sticking it to those people down there in New Orleans last year, and after telling Brownie he was doing a heck of a job, man. There he is with another one of them photo ops. Just remember one thing.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Or a whole bunch of other things, too. Not to mention all those dead people, all the blood on his hands. 1,114 votes on the poll. What celebrity or athlete are you the most tired of? Tom Cruise, 277. Enough already, will you?
You fair.
God, go away. Paris Hilton, 236. Terrell Owens, 162. He is just nauseating. Won't stop. Tiger Woods, 87. Go away. Take your balls and leave. Britney Spears, 66. Oprah, 49. We'll say the same thing to her, too. Take your balls and leave, Oprah. Mel Gibson, 41. Donald Trump, 39. Star Jones, 36. Barry Bonds, 26. Ersatz. Madonna, 24. Shaq has got 16.
All right.
Jessica Simpson, 14. Bono, 14. Whitney Houston, 9. Jennifer Aniston, 9. George Clooney's only got 5. I guess they haven't seen either one of those bad movies. Syriana or Good Night and Good Luck. Oh, God, really bad. Brad Pitt, 3, and Lance Bass has only got 2. He's only got 2, so who cares if he's gay? Who the hell knows who he is anyway, right?
Who?
Yeah, that Instinct guy. Remember Instinct?
Bye!
Yeah, them. Catholic sister Helen Pregene, author of Dead Man Walking and a longtime social activist, has been uninvited as the keynote speaker at the Diocese of Duluth Education Dinner in October. Wait till you hear why. Did you see this story?
No.
In a letter to some diocese residents sent yesterday, Duluth Bishop Dennis Schnur, well, I wonder if he's a Schnur, said the decision to cancel the event, the SH words, man, see, you think of one SH word, all you people out there, Schmagegi, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Schnorr.
Salt and Pepper Incorporated.
Right. Duluth Bishop Dennis Schnoor said the decision to cancel the event at Prejean's address was based on her name appearing on an August 3rd New York Times ad calling for President Bush to be removed from office, to which we say, oh! Schnoor said the ad was brought to his attention by lay people in the diocese. Upon reviewing the ad, I find that I share their concerns, Schnoor said in the letter. Therefore, we've made the difficult decision to cancel her appearance. The event, which had been set for October 1 at the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center, was a joint fundraiser for Duluth and Iron Range Catholic schools. The same dinner last year raised more than $30,000 with the Green Bay Auxiliary Bishop as the keynote speaker. The event was scheduled for the DECC this year because such a large crowd was expected, said Kyle Eller, Communication Director for the diocese. I wonder if he was kin to Carl Eller, the old football player. It's very disappointing. This is a very big event. We couldn't get another speaker in time, Eller said. The problem wasn't the political nature of the issues raised in the ad, Eller said, noting that the church and Prejean often take stands on political issues, but the ad's partisan attack of Bush crossed the line, Eller said. When it gets into attacking a political figure, that becomes partisan, Eller said, noting that the church has both moral and legal obligations to remain nonpartisan. During the last national election, several churches were criticized and some investigated by the IRS because they were alleged to have endorsed specific candidates or political parties, a violation of their nonprofit status. The ad in question, titled The World Can't Wait, Drive Out the Bush Regime, carried the endorsement of 90 individuals, including Prejean, a member of the Sisters of St. Joseph of something in New Orleans. Some French, who knows what that is. The World Can't Wait organizers are sponsoring a mass day of protest against the Bush administration on October 5. Prejean, 67, is on a 3-month sabbatical for renewal and writing, her office said Tuesday, and is unavailable till September 1. But in a letter on her website, Prejean said the ad properly criticizes Bush's reckless pursuit of war in Iraq.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
To help clean out houses and remove...
Oh, there it is. Yeah, he's cleaning out houses in Iraq, which has helped to destabilize the entire Middle East. His approval of torture, his zealous promotion of imprisonment and executions, his fiscal policy, which make the wealthy people more wealthy and the poor people poorer.
The Cruz founder...
The ad also criticized Bush's stand against abortion and contraception, and Prejean has since asked to be removed from the ad because she didn't agree with its stand on abortion. Well, not being a good Catholic, I'm sure she would not. On her website, she said, there is one issue addressed in the ad that I cannot endorse, which if I had seen the final version would have led me to withhold my signature. My stance on abortion is a matter of public record. I stand morally opposed to killing, war, executions, killing of the old and demented, the killing of children unborn and born. But Prejean offered no apologies for her direct criticism of the Bush administration, saying her faith demands action against Bush. I signed the ad because as a follower of the way of Jesus and a U.S. citizen, I cannot stand by passively and silently as I witness my government wage such grievous oppression and violence, she said on her website. For me personally, it would be sinful not to raise my voice publicly in opposition to the life-destructive policies and practices of the Bush administration.
There's some people here.
Yeah, right, exactly. He gets it. He's going to get it. Norma's going to get it. Hey, Norma, if it's 4 o'clock in Japan, where's your ass? Oh, my God. Didn't that still just drive you nuts?
It's incredible.
Especially at 1 o'clock in the morning, okay? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Why are you coming? Oh, but I'm in Canada and you're in Canada. Aren't we on the same time? Oh, my God. There's only one thing to say to that. And my livelihood, my career has rested in the hands of this yutz for all this time. No wonder I'm sitting here on QAM. Watching George Bush.
You know, when we first got...
It just gets better and better and better as the people continue getting dumber and dumber and dumber, you know? You don't think there could be a connection, do you?
No. Coincidence.
Well, thank God for that. 12:56 at QM, we're approaching that powerhouse afternoon lineup. Thank God. No more of that. No more of that. God, isn't that something that we don't have to keep promoting coming up at 2? We got Mad Dog at 2. The Power Hour with Hank and the Mad Dog together in stereo 4 to 5, cross-dressing and cross-dancing, and then Hank Goldberg 5 to 7. And after we fill that hour with that Hurricane Hotline crap, what kind of uniforms is it? And then it's the Marlins and the Cardinals, those red-hot Marlins, man, 8 in a row, 2 games under 500, only 2 games out of the wild card.
The biggest names, the
Who
best
could believe
talent.
it?
This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
It's the 1 to 2 hour. Hi, Vay.
Bush ignored the city of New Orleans. Yes, some of the people down there say he failed. Stuffs the people in the Astrodome like cattle, while half the National Guard was in Iraq. He cut funding for their levees, looters causing anarchy. In Aruba we made a bigger deal. In search for Natalie Holloway, for one white girl we drained a lake, and even asked for help from the Navy SEALs. I'm dying over here. George Bush was vacationing in Crawford. I guess next year there'll be no Mardi Gras. Girls Gone Wild needs the city of New Orleans, or they'll have to send their film crew to Florida.
But not until after Ernesto passes. We don't want to be doing that. So how's Ernesto coming? Don't let me forget about 145, 130.
I won't.
I want to get that 2 o'clock
interested.
advisory on.
Oh, look at their live footage from Home Depot, and there's all the panic.
Oh, are they showing that? With hyperventilating?
Yeah.
I watched about 30 seconds. How many seconds?
About 30, man.
Of NBC6 online there, and I thought, well, since they're our news partner, we're playing them promos. Maybe I'll learn something on there, that I don't know. It didn't. But we got it, I got it. Although I will say this.
Play and encouraging.
In fact, they got this bozo on there. We could be getting some extensive coverage here on Ernesto and some nice, Although, why the hell do we have to do that when we can just go to the radar? Right?
Right. We don't have to wait for them.
Go back to my radar. One moment, please. Go back to Miami radar. And actually, earlier, if you, do the arrows there and you, leapy lead little arrows. Oh, look at that. You notice how that, in fact, that one band there, it's shaped just like Cuba, isn't it?
Yeah,
the northern band. Looks just like Cuba.
Maybe that's the American band.
Holy moly. And that thing is, it's already in there, man. It's in there. It's in Dade. It's coming to Broward. Not in Broward yet. In fact, it's a long ways from Broward, isn't it? But it's certainly in Dade. In fact, if you look out your window right there and take a look at, that thing has really moved. Is it just my imagination, or is that thing all of a sudden picked up speed, or maybe they just caught up on the radar?
I don't know.
Don't you see what I'd be seeing, though?
I do see it.
Looks like it's making a big move. Anyway, we got some rain coming. A lot of rain. Not the end of the world. Don't get all panicky. Don't act like some kind of a jackass. Don't act selfish like everything's all for me, Look what happened to people like that. But Key West is getting it good. Marathon is getting it. Key Largo is getting it right heavy duty. In fact, it's already looks like a little respite there. Maybe not. It's hard to tell. But Miami's right on the verge. But that upper finger there, man, that outer band, it looks just like Cuba in reverse. Maybe Fidelo's coming, you think?
Uh-oh.
Wouldn't that be something? I got an article. I got one that is absolutely up your alley, Sally.
Well, let me bend over.
John Tierney wrote this, and it's datelined Amsterdam. Did you see it on our website?
No.
From Sunday's New York Times.
I'm too busy sitting in line for gas these days to be reading any.
So I guess you didn't watch those movies over the weekend.
I watched one of them. I watched
The Trials of Henry Kissinger?
No, the President, the Hunting
of
the
about
President.
Bubba?
Oh.
Not enough to make you vomit?
What a crock.
Kenny Starr and that whole crowd of right-wing lunatics?
So transparent.
Yeah. But didn't, the media couldn't see through it, or didn't want to.
They wouldn't be
so we had to go through 2-3 years of all that crap and waste $70 million of your taxpayer dollars on Monica Gate. And, of course, on Whitewater, which never happened in the first place, at least not with them. The Czar's Reefer Madness, John Tierney in Sunday's New York Times. Didn't see it?
No.
Arjan Roscan, the creator of the award-winning marijuana blend named Arjan's Haze, well, I'm sure you're probably smoking some of that right now.
You know it, the purple stuff.
Has dozens of pictures of celebrity visitors on the wall of his coffee shop in Amsterdam. He's got Eminem, Lenny Kravitz, Alicia Keys. Oh, Alicia Keys. Oh, wait a minute. I get confused with Alicia Keys and Alicia Bridges. That's Alicia Bridges. Well, same thing. How many Alicias do you know? Mike Tyson, but so far, unfortunately, not a single White House drug czar. The czars have preferred to criticize from afar. In the past, they've called Dutch drug policy an unmitigated disaster, bemoaning Amsterdam's stone zombies and its streets cluttered with junkies. Anti-pot passion has only increased in the Bush administration, which has made it a priority to combat marijuana. More than 500,000 Americans are arrested annually for possessing it. The Bush administration can't even abide it for being used for medical purposes by the terminally ill. Why risk having any of it fall into the hands of young people who could turn into potheads, crack addicts, and junkies? But if America's drug warriors came to Amsterdam, they would learn something even if they didn't sample any of the dozens of varieties of marijuana sold legally in specially licensed coffee shops. They could see that the patrons puffing on joints generally don't look any more zombie-like than the crowd in an American bar, or for that matter, a congressional subcommittee listening to a lecture on the evils of marijuana. And if they talked to Peter Cohen, a Dutch researcher who's been studying drug use for a quarter century, they would discover something even more disorienting. Even though marijuana has been widely available since the 1970s, enough to corrupt a couple of generations, the Netherlands has not succumbed to reefer madness. The Dutch generally use drugs less than Americans do, according to national surveys in both countries, and these surveys might understate Americans' drug usage simply because respondents are less likely to admit illegal behavior. More Americans than Dutch reported having tried marijuana, cocaine, and heroin. Among teenagers who tried marijuana, Americans were more likely to be regular users. In a comparison of Amsterdam with another liberal port city, San Francisco, Cohen and other researchers found that people in San Francisco were nearly twice as likely to have tried marijuana. Cohen isn't sure exactly what cultural and economic factors account for the different usage patterns in America and the Netherlands, but he's confident he can rule out one explanation. Drug policy is irrelevant, says Cohen, the former director of the Center for Drug Research at the University of Amsterdam. It's quite logical, he says, to theorize that outlawing drugs would have an impact, but experience shows otherwise, both in America and in some European countries with stricter laws than the Netherlands, but no less drug use. The good news about drugs, Cohen says, is that the differences among countries aren't all that important. Levels of addiction are generally low in America as well as in Europe. The bad news is that the occasional drug fad gets hyped into a crisis that leads to bad laws. Prohibition does not reduce drug use, but it does have other impacts, he says. It takes up an enormous amount of police time and generates large possibilities for criminal income. In the Netherlands, that income goes instead to coffee shop owners and to the government, which exacts heavy taxes. It also imposes strict regulations on what goes on in a coffee shop, including who can be served, no minors, and how much can be sold 5 grams to a customer. Any unruly behavior or public disturbances can quickly close down a shop. To avoid problems at the greenhouse, Roscam has closed-circuit cameras and a staff that urges novices to stick with small doses and to protect their lungs by taking hits from a vaporizer. Unlike street buyers in America, customers know exactly what strength they're getting, which is especially useful to hundreds of people with multiple sclerosis and other ailments who uses marijuana medicinally. Roscam sneers at the street products in the U.S., which he considers overpriced and badly blended. But he acknowledges there's one feature in the American market he can't compete with. Drugs are just less interesting here, he said. One of my best friends here never smoked cannabis, never wanted even to try my products. That's when she was 32 and she went to America on a holiday and smoked for the first time. I asked her why, and she said, it was more fun over there. It was illegal.
Uh-huh.
How do you like that?
The forbidden fruit,
The forbidden fruit, baby. Fruit.
You fairy.
Norma. So how's that radar coming? Don't let me forget now.
I won't.
To check who's naughty and nice on that thing of about 150. I got to get back to that pool now. We got 1,200 votes yet? Pretty shocking when everybody's out there trying to siphon gas out of other people's car, sticking their in somebody else's tank. Stick a tiger in the tank. Tiger Woods. Boy, he makes me sick. I don't know what it is. It's not a racial thing because he's like, he's
a bunch of everything.
Yeah.
He's a cocktail.
1,151 votes on that poll. What celebrity or athlete are you most tired of? Tom Cruise, 286. Paris Hilton, 242. Actually, it's a pretty good race there, wouldn't you say?
It is.
She's close. The nose knows. Oh, my God. Let me say it again. Did you notice? Did you take my warning and take a look at what's her name in that Clinton movie?
What's her name? Oh, Paula Jones?
Paula Jones.
Oh, it's a good thing she got a nose job. I'm surprised they didn't mosaic that thing.
She could open up locked doors with that thing.
It looks like something else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't say it.
I won't.
Paris Hilton, 242. Yeah, it looks like an Ann Coulter, what she's got. Terrell Owens, 169, a big one. Tiger Woods, 88. Britney Spears, 68. Oprah, 51. I think she's got something. A lot of money. Nobody knows why. Mel Gibson, 44. Donald Trump, 40. Star Jones, 39. Barry Bonds, 27. Madonna, 24. I only like her because she keeps sticking it to the Catholic Church. I just love that. Keep pissing them off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, it's all done for publicity and to make money,
sure,
but nevertheless, she still pisses them off. Shaq has got 18. Enough with that big head already. Jessica Simpson, 14. Bono, 14. Whitney Houston, 9. She's having a big love affair with Osama Yamama. She don't know it yet. And his 48 wives. Jennifer Aniston, 8. George Clooney still only got 5. He started with 5. He still got 5. He ain't going nowhere. His movies suck. Brad Pitt, 3. And Lance Bass still's got a small pair. And it's not good to have a small pair when you're gay. Because then, although he's probably got plenty of company, wouldn't you think?
I imagine.
He's probably a busy boy.
a house in the Carrollton neighborhood near Lafayette Academy.
That's a good place. That's where he's going to go when he retires very, very soon, we hope.
The biggest names,
and he
the
resigns.
best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Apply directly to the brainstem. Caffeine. Apply directly to the brainstem.
Talk about your Teflon presidents. Whoa, you ain't kidding. Goodbye, George. You gotta go, me oh my oh. You gotta go home 'cause you f***ed up bad on the bio.
Absolutely.
But you sure flew quick when it came to sick Terry Shiloh. Son of a bush is a foot in your tush. Now say goodbye, yo.
Rectum.
Georgie, while people drowned, you played a round of relaxing golf. Well, he was on vacation. Priorities are not your cup of tea. That's evidento. Oops. And no one cares to even prepare for the worst scenario. You were the one busy having fun, and that's a no-no. You'll investigate at a later date. That's real bullshit. So, think your situation. The ones that up should get locked up so it don't continue. But no one will get blamed like with Agent Flame. No heads will roll, of course. And as for this, to be a slap on the wrist and no charges filed. What a surprise. 'Cause you're a liar. No one gets fired with each new meso. Nobody. A new death toll, a slip in the polls, that's no problemo. He'll fix it. Your spin machine will deal with New Orleans, 'cause that's their job-o. As per usual. Son of a bush is a foot in your tush. You're an asshole. We just don't understand. You got blood on your hands, but want no blame-o. I'm a problem solver. You made it obvious, at least to most of us, you have no shame-o. Shame? What's that? And what's with that smirk, you stupid jerk, when people have died-o? Son of a beach, you should be impeached, and we mean pronto. Now do us all a favor and get the out. You hear? Jackass.
Abu Ghraib.
117 at 560 WQAM. We still got that stubborn 33%, although I noticed the new Newsweek poll yesterday, he's back down to 36% overall. 36.
Yeah.
Popularity.
Those back.
That's that same, like I said, stubborn 33, 35, 36. They're like that. Yahoos. Eric Hamlin got off to a rough start at Carmody Middle School in Colorado. In the very first week of class, he got a letter of reprimand and was placed on administrative leave, as reported by the Denver Post. You see this?
No.
You haven't seen too much because you've been busy watching all them stupid movies. You better watch that Kissinger movie.
Oh, I will.
And even though the school quickly reinstated him, he's decided not to return, he tells the Progressive. Hamlin was hired to teach world geography to 7th graders at the school, which is in Jefferson County, Colorado. For the past 8 years, he says he's taught in that district. He prepared his classroom by displaying the flags of Mexico, China, and the UN, as he has in previous classes without incident, he says. But when Assistant Principal Victoria Winslow came into his class on August 21st, the day before school was to begin, and saw the flags, she told him to take them down. That surprised me and caught me off guard, he says. I asked her why I had to take them down, and she said it was Jefferson County School District policy. I said I'd had the flags up before in Jefferson County, and if that was the policy, I had some issues with it. She left, and then about an hour later, she returned and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It isn't district policy. It's actually state law," and handed me a copy of a Colorado state statute. The statute says any person who displays any flag other than the flag of the U.S. Or the state of Colorado, or any of its subdivisions, agencies, or institutions upon any state, county, municipal, or other public building or adjacent grounds within the state commits a Class 1 petty offense. Sounds awfully petty to me, don't it?
Sure enough.
There is an exception in the statute for a temporary display of any instructional or historical materials not permanently affixed or attached to any part of the buildings. Hamlin says he read the statute and noticed the last part about the temporary display for educational purposes and pointed it out to Winslow. But she felt the flags seemed permanent and again said that I needed to take them down. A little while later, Principal John Schalk came to see him. According to Hamlin, he said, "I hear we're having some issues with flags. You need to understand that you have to take them down. Now." Hamlin refused. I told him I wanted to have the flags up so the students could observe them and reference them and ask questions about them, he says. He informed me I was insubordinate. I agreed with that. However, I told him I thought there was a bigger issue here, so he told me there would be further disciplinary action. Hamlin was allowed to teach on August 22nd, but at the end of the day, he was called down to Principal Schalk's office again. He presented me with a letter of reprimand, Hamlin says. If Hamlin wanted to return in good standing, the letter said he would have to agree to not display any flag of any foreign nation, Hamlin recalls. And I had to receive administrative approval for any display I was putting up in my classroom. Hamlin says he told Schalk that he couldn't morally comply with those terms. The next day, shortly after Hamlin arrived at school, Schalk handed him a letter placing him on administrative leave. Are you following this?
I am, carefully.
It's,
chilling.
After the Denver Post and Huffington Post, other media outlets got a hold of the story. Hamlin met with some county and school officials to see if they could work out an agreement. What we eventually agreed to is that I would be able to have the flags up on a rotational basis, with 12 weeks being the longest, which is how I use the flags anyway, Hamlin said. But before agreeing to go back, Hamlin wanted to meet with the principal and other school administrators, which he did August 24. And he wanted to consult with other faculty members to see what the school atmosphere was like. I had my confidence shaken in the school administration's ability to back me in certain situations, he said. The teachers he spoke with warned him that a lot of people in the school don't like what you've done. They think you're trying to rip the school apart, he says. Hamlin says he asked for a day to decide what to do. On August 25th, he chose to leave. I came to the decision that it probably would be best for me, for students, and for Carmody Middle School if I moved on, he says. Hamlin hopes to work for the district in one capacity or another. We're looking at a possible transfer, he says. Hamlin says he bears no ill will toward Principal Schalk. In fact, he feels bad for him. He's just getting scathing emails, he says. Most of them are very unfair, calling him Nazi and things like that. All of these things. The principal thought it was a reasonable interpretation of the statute to ask Hamlin to remove the flags. Lynn Setzer, Executive Director of Communications for Jefferson County Public Schools, tells the Progressive the subject matter was longitude and latitude. Or maybe it was just bad attitude. For a while there, Setzer believed the matter was settled. Hamlin was returning to class. He was clear to go back to the class, she told me Friday morning. From the district's standpoint, the matter's been resolved, but that was before Hamlin chose not to return. We're working to try to find him a new assignment based on his request. Certainly not ours, Setzer now says. Mark Silverstein, legal director for the Colorado ACLU, questions the validity of the state statute and the school's interpretation of it. I have a hard time understanding how the state of Colorado's interests are threatened by someone displaying a foreign flag in some state building, he says, especially by a geography teacher using foreign flags as part of the instruction about different parts of the world. The statute itself represents legislative overreaction to a non-problem, and the principal's decision was an overreaction to the statute, he was saying, which is the understatement of the century. Hey, how do you like that? Take down them foreign flags, okay?
Comunista.
Yeah, and all you people with them Cuban flags, take them down. All them Brazilian flags, every time they play that stupid soccer crap. Brazil, the hell with Brazil, okay? Take them flags down. Cut the crap.
Court, maybe several. Details on his next legal stop coming up on Livefront.
Boy, he ain't the strangest. I'm telling you, he's the, I keep trying to tell you, he's the guy from that outer space movie.
Which one?
The
Day the Earth Stood Still.
The Day the Earth Stood Still with Michael Rennie, man. He had the same, didn't he have that same kind of face?
Wow.
He wasn't quite as grotesque looking, and he certainly did not have a pear-shaped ass. No, see, I tried to tell you that right in the beginning, right from the get-go. And that is never trust a guy with a pear-shaped ass. It's just, that's a lady, okay? That's a lady. Wait till you see that movie, Four Brothers. And I'm not going to get you that movie unless you get...
No, it's running on cable. I'll get it.
Watch The Trials of Henry Kissinger. Because if you think the Clinton one pissed you off, wait until you see that. You're going to want to go and find out where Henry is right now and go and give him a piece of your mind. Or like he said, pieces in our hands. That was before your time. That was during Vietnam. Pieces in our hands, yeah. Piece of Cambodia, piece of Laos, piece of this, piece of crap. Which is exactly what he is. 25 after 1, man. We got some heavy-duty sports stuff today. The Marlins are on fire. They might just make that wild card. And, I really do hope they make the wild card in spite of Jeffrey Lurie and David Sampson and Delilah. Because maybe we can make back on QAM some of all that money we've been losing on those broadcast rights where they've been charging us for a major league team. And for a long time we're playing like a little league team. Maybe they can get Ted Lilly to pitch for the Marlins. Josh?
Well, that would be a bad thing.
Hey, he won a game the other day. They scored him like, 10-6, 10-7. They scored him a bunch of runs, and he held on.
Well, that's why he won.
And this time when the manager went out there to take the ball away, he just handed it right to him. He said, okay, bye-bye, see ya. Man, all these stupid-ass overpaid jocks and all their attitudes and all their platitudes and all their crap. And, of course, you people out there that go and, fawn all over them because they, take showers naked together and stuff like that. Isn't that what it's all about?
You fairy.
26. Oh, here's your spot.
So to help tell her story, we hired that
Don
announcer guy from the
LaFontaine.
movies.
When the storm hit, both our cars were totally underwater.
In a world where both of our cars were totally underwater.
We thought it would take forever to get some help.
But a new wind was about to blow.
With Geico, we had our check in 2 days.
Payback. This time, it's for real.
Geico. Real service?
And they just takes the headphones off and they're like, yeah, it was okay. Maniac. Hey, let me tell you right now about where to take your feet. That's Brandy's Shoes in Pompano Beach. For about 100 years now, smart people take their feet to Brandy's because it is the best. They carry all the major brands like Florsheim, Echo, Mephisto, Rockport, Hush Puppies, New Balance, all the other top names in the shoe business, in all sizes for men and women. And they even carry wide widths and hard-to-find sizes for those of you people out there with freaky feet. Brandy's Shoes, in fact, is the largest independent shoe retailer in all of South Florida. If you've never been there, when you walk in for the first time, you'll say, hey, that old fart is right, man. This is a hell of a place. In fact, when you go to Brandy's, stop and see our good buddy Arnie, because every time he'll make sure you get the right-fitting shoes for your feet at an unbeatable price. Brandy's Shoes, you'll find them at 1290 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach between Atlantic and Copans on the east side. Open every day of the week for your shopping convenience, Monday through Saturdays till 9 and every Sunday till 5. And again this week, it's a great time to buy Sperry's at Brandy's. American Originals on sale, only $45.90. Save up to $20 on all of the men's and women's styles, too. So be sure to get your ass in and take good care of them Tootsies at Brandy's this week, or do your shoe shopping right online at brandyshoes.com.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
It's the lotion in the basket. Hello, I'm Ricky Carr.
No, John Mark Karr.
Mm-hmm. Who are you again, Mommy?
Frank Carlucci.
Mm-hmm. But I'm Buffalo Bill.
Not today.
That's fine. I love children. I love children. They love me. And we love the smell of playground pee. And Mommy wants a liberal quiet today. They asked me here today to keep your mind occupied with other things. I killed all the children. Yes, it was I, Buffalo Bill. Ricky Carr. I killed Salminio. And I kidnapped the Lindbergh baby. And I shot Superman. Mommy, I want to put all your cotton one liberals in the basket. Joe Lieberman never kissed me like that. I'd like to know how to have Joe Lieberman give me tongue. Mommy, Joe puts his tongue in my basket.
At least it's kosher. 132, 28 till 2 at QAM. Boy, they're all over this Katrina thing, man. It's a one-year emergency. Anniversary. Meantime, Ernesto, they give a lick and a schmear, you know? They don't care about us. An unidentified man was found dead, curled on the ground at an Exxon gas station on Federal Highway in Boynton Beach Boulevard, police said. The good news is police said it wasn't gas line related. Isn't that good news?
Oh, okay, good.
Well, the bad news is he's dead, but... Meanwhile, in Lauderhill, police said increasing pre-Ernesto tension led to a fight at a gas station this morning that left one person with minor injuries and another in handcuffs. Now, in the first part, in Boynton Beach, a customer called police at 6:50 this morning after spotting this body. It says after spotting his body. Oh, the Sun Sentinel strikes again. After spotting a body on the south side of the station's convenience store, said police spokesman Sergeant Stuart Steele. He's a man of steel. It's suspicious, he said. It's not gas line related. Thank God. The gas station, which opened at 6:30 this morning, had no fuel supply at the time this man was found. I didn't notice anything, said the manager, Sandar Joshi. He said no surveillance cameras located outside the station's convenience store, but he heard the victim was badly beaten. At about 9 a.m., the fuel trucks hadn't arrived yet, but a handful of customers waiting to gas up before Ernesto arrived. I'm riding on fumes, said Boynton Beach resident Edgar Martin. Steele said the man, who was found with shorts and a shirt on, appeared to be in his 30s or 40s. A pair of glasses was recovered near his body. Well, that narrows it down. Since he had no ID on him, police asked local homeless persons for help in identifying the man. They ought to go see Sean Canoni. He'll know who it is, based on how much revenue this guy brought in. In the Lauderhill incident, Ludwig Smith, 43 of Lauderhill, got into a physical argument shortly before 7 o'clock this morning with another man over which line to use for the gas pumps at the Citgo at Northwest 16th Street and State Road 7, said Lieutenant Tundra King, police spokeswoman. Smith was charged with battery and taken to the Broward County Jail. See, all you crazy people out there, this is not the end of the world. There's plenty of gas. That's what Jim Smith said, right?
Yeah, twice.
Everybody said that. And then the other guy, Benny Blades or whoever that was that said there's a lot of gas. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
George is the only guy who can't find it.
That's it. It's just me.
Just you. That's because you're a short guy, okay?
That's right.
People have trouble finding those gas stations. If they'd let him up better, just like that runway in Lexington, then maybe there wouldn't be so many problems. I still don't understand that. It makes you real nervous
Called
about flying.
idiocy.
And
Maybe
it
he
wasn't
was
because
drunk.
they were flying on a puddle jumper. It was because the crew was obviously a bunch of idiots, no matter
Right.
how much experience they had. Oh yeah, and in fact, on the flight recorder, they even comment on the fact that it's dark on this runway, the lights are out. Maybe there's a good reason for that, you morons. That's not the right runway, you jackass. But nevertheless, just pathetic. 1192. Can you believe we're going to go over 1,200 votes on the poll today on a day when people are like chopping up all the water and everything, all the supplies? Just wait till. In fact, you probably waited to go to the Publix too.
No, I got other people that do that.
Not the wife.
Of course.
The wife goes to Publix? You let
Sure.
her go into a place like that?
She better. I'm not going to go there.
She hang out there with the ankle paramedics and make sure she doesn't have like any injuries, or maybe that's why you send her in there.
She paints little symbols of old people on the side of her cart.
Oh, man, just pathetic. Voters agree the American political system is broken. This is by Rasmussen Reports. This was on your favorite website, Capitol Hill Blue. It used to be your favorite website until Doug Thompson got...
that is so sad.
Sad. Well, he got sad-tracked. I was going to say he got sidetracked, but sad. He got sad-tracked. It's very sad. Look what happened to Dan Rather, man. Look what's going on in America. Used to be a little bit of freedom. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Not no mo. That's why, you're right, it's a shame that movie, that Ed Murrow movie is such a piece of garbage. Good night and good luck. Don't waste your time. Man, it is so lame. So weak. And quite frankly, unless you really know the whole story of the McCarthy era, it's meaningless. It has absolutely no meaning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it gives everything like a quick lick and a smear, and that's it.
Yeah, it was a wasted opportunity.
That is correct. And leave it to George Clooney, man, who could drive you loony. That Syriana thing. I'll get back to you, Syriana. That's what I should have said about halfway in the movie. I'll get back to you, Syriana, instead of wasting my time watching the whole thing. What a piece of turd, man. And then, of course, in the end, Matt Dillon comes back home to the wife and family, and everything is just fine. You didn't see that, did you?
No.
Oh, thank God. Don't watch it. I'm begging you.
I won't.
Unless they pay you by the frame. Do not watch that piece of garbage. A plurality of voters in each of 32 states agrees that the political system in the U.S. is badly broken. Percentages range from a high of 63% in Vermont to 47% in Nebraska, but all of them point in the same direction. The Rasmussen Report surveys were conducted as part of a series of election 2006 polls on Senate and governor races across the country. An earlier national survey found that just 48% of American adults believe that elections are generally fair to voters. Oh, that number has been fairly consistent since we began polling on the topic in the mid-'90s. The only change has been the partisan details. In the 90s, with a Democrat in the White House, Democrats were more likely than Republicans to believe that elections are fair. Now, with a Republican in the White House, the partisan perspectives have reversed. That couldn't be because we had two fixed presidential elections back-to-back, side by each, could it? The earlier survey also found, look at that, only 50% of hospitals in New Orleans have reopened and 29% of schools. Hell of a job, Bushy. Between him and Brownie, man, what a job, huh? 29% of schools have reopened in New Orleans in a year.
Oh, boy.
And 50% of hospitals. But of course, the multimillionaires, they're doing just fine, and the big businesses are doing just fine, all the fancy restaurants. The earlier survey also found that by a margin of 68 to 29%, American adults believe that election ballots should be printed in English only rather than English and Spanish. I bet you Pat Buchanan voted on that poll several times. A look at the state-by-state results shows, not surprisingly, great divides along geographic lines. I bet you Lou Dobbs voted on there several times, too. In 22 of the 32 states, at least 60% of the voters favored English-only ballots. Topping this list were Tennessee, 77%, Montana, 72%, West Virginia, 71%, Alabama and Georgia, 70%. See a common thread there?
Mm-hmm.
Rednecks. Vermont at 49% had the lowest support for English-only ballots. 47% of voters in Howard Dean's home state disagree and want bilingual ballots, and then there are a whole bunch of them in Massachusetts want bisexual ballots. Texas, New York, Massachusetts, and Maryland were the only other states where more than 40% of voters favor bilingual ballots. And how about a Mexican flag on top of the post office? Individuals should be required to present photo ID for voting when they go to the polls. That was also asked. Support for this approach ranged from 60% in Vermont to 92% in guess what state? Florida, you're right. Maine was the only other state to register below the 73% level of support for requiring photo IDs. Oh, why do that and try to get it right,
Right.
Now you're getting carried away. Voters in New York are more likely than any other state to express a concern about voter suppression. 34% of New York voters hold this view. Washington and Arizona are tops when it comes to concerns about ineligible people casting ballots. In Washington, that may be the result of controversies in the election for governor. In Arizona, it's more likely tied to concerns about illegal immigrants. Call up Lou Dobbs, see if he's going to get his ass on this in time for tonight's show. Come on, Lou. You can do it, man. Let's get them illegal aliens. Let's get them. Come on, Lou. That's it.
Hola.
Who's more obsessed, do you think, him or Pat Buchanan? Wouldn't that'd be a good ticket?
I don't know. They could mud wrestle for the title.
They could Musgrove it? 140, 20 till 2. Now, don't forget, during this break, in these last few minutes, because I know once we get sports intensive, not that the Mad Dog and the Humper aren't going to keep you in touch with what's going on with our vast news expertise and department of QAM, but, you know, just like I did at 11 o'clock. Wasn't that good the way I kind of upstaged?
Great.
So, even though I'm a million miles away, thank God. The sun is shining, blue. No rain here, baby. No rain here. And, of course, with Ernesto on the way and just about there already, keep in mind that Dry Concepts are the people who can do a fantastic job for you. In fact, when you have Dry Concepts come into your home and clean your carpets, it really is true that you can clean today and entertain tonight because they're dry in a few hours and you're ready to rock and roll again in no time at all. Your carpets stay cleaner longer with no sticky residue behind them. With over 50,000 satisfied customers, you know they are the best. And like I said with Ernesto, just about there, keep in mind that Dry Concepts are the experts in water damage restoration. Certified technicians get you out of the mold zone in just minutes, not days. And Dry Concepts can get your home or business dry within 24 to 72 hours, guaranteed. So we hope that you all stay dry, but there are going to be some of you who have some real tourists these next 2 or 3 days, so keep these folks in mind. And to top it all off, Dry Concepts has got state-of-the-art Oriental rug cleaning, the only plant in South Florida on-site dedicated to keeping your expensive and expansive area rugs looking just like brand new. So do yourself a great favor and call Dry Concepts like I've been doing for over 21 years in Dade, Broward, and the Palm Beaches. It's a toll-free call. 1-800-248-5071. That's 1-800-248-5071 or on the wicked web, dryconcepts.com.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
I can't, folks.
Leads I've given you. These leads, they're old. I've seen that name 100 times.
Well, the leads are assigned randomly.
Yeah, what about the new leads, huh? The new leads.
I can't close. Nobody can close them. They're old. The leads are garbage. Nobody can close.
The leads are weak.
All I need is a lead.
Closing isn't always easy, especially if you're only given the old leads. What if with one phone call, you can get fresh new leads and actually close enough to get yourself on the Cadillac board?
Get the chalk! Hey, get the chalk! Put me on the Cadillac board!
It's not too good to be true. It's the Glengarry Leads, the leading provider of good leads on pink cards with gold ribbon wrapped around them, not the ones on the blue cards you're used to trying to close on.
You hear me, you faggots?
No matter what kind of property you're trying to close on, Glengarry has the leads you need.
These are the new leads.
And you don't get them. Unless you call now. 1-800...
Glengarry Leads. They're for closers.
That's 1-800...
Get to work.
That's 1-800...
Have you made your decision for Christ?
Call Glengarry Leads now, and you'll receive...
$6,000 and one Cadillac.
That's 1-800...
Close!
1402, and guess what? The new advisory, the intermediate public advisory on Ernesto?
Hey, don't forget that advisory.
It's not here yet.
Okay.
Well, I'm refreshing, and I am mild. What were your favorite cigarette ads? That'd be a good poll someday. Well, back in the day when you were smoking cigarettes, what cigarette did you smoke most?
Fred Flintstone for Pall Mall.
Newports. Outstanding. Was that Chesterfield? No, it was Pall Mall. Outstanding, and they are mild. I mean, we know what the Chesterfield spots were like. Chesterfield! That's exactly what I had in mind. Beat me to it by about a half a second. Oh, the 11 a.m. advisory is still up there. I keep clicking the refresh button and nothing's happening. Isn't that depressing? Don't you hate when that happens?
All the time.
Well, I want to be right on top of it, man, because I don't want to be giving no misinformation. I want everybody to make sure they got a lot of gas, they got a lot of bottled water, a lot of Visqueen and duct tape, plywood, 2x4s, right?
Show.
Stuff like that. Brazilian paleontologist, boy, you talk about butchering names. Wait till you hear this. Did you see this story about the new type of dinosaur they discovered?
No, there's a new one?
That dates back 80 million years. It's even older than that broad in Quito, Ecuador.
More that satanic made fossil.
Yeah, 80 million years. And this again for all the Getchkis out there, the religionists with their, well, the earth, God created the earth 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. Yeah. See, that's only when the Israelis and the Jews and the Arabs started killing each other. But the whole thing goes back billions of years when God created it, of course. That's...
Oh, God!
Brazilian paleontologists have discovered a new giant dinosaur species based on fossilized fragments of the herbivorous reptile that lived 80 million years ago, long before there was any Abraham or Solomon or even Abraham Solomon. the Maxicalosaurus topi. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Maxicalosaurus topi of the Titanosauria group. Boy, I did that very well. They have 87 letters in that. Was 13 yards long and weighed about 9 tons. Wow. Can't you hear Tennessee Ernie right now singing, you load 16 tons, huh? We'll have to change
right
16 tons to 9 tons. Tennessee Ernie on Capitol Records, man. It was number 1 for about 400 weeks in a row on your hit parade. With Russell Arms and Giselle McKenzie and Snooky Lanson and Dorothy Collins. Your hit parade. Who was the host on your hit parade? Now that I don't know.
I only got it by Johnny Cash. Damn it.
16 tons?
Yeah.
Get out of
I'll get
here.
The original somewhere.
You got Ernie Ford in there. Tennessee Ernie, baby. You got it.
Don't.
Some people say a man is made out of mud.
No wonder he's dead. Anyway, it had a large body. Not Johnny Cash. Well, he did too. It had a large body and a long tail and a neck with a relatively small head. Oh, it sounds like the beast. Large body, small head. Some of the bones found had the marks of teeth on them, which led scientists to believe that the specimen was devoured by carnivorous dinosaurs after its death. They were macking on each other. The fossils date back to the late Cretaceous period.
Careful. Yes, Cretaceous.
They were found during excavations between 1998 and 2002 next to a highway in a place called Serra de Boa Vista in central southern Minas Gerais state. Where is this? Oh, this is in Rio, in Brazil. Well, I don't know. They speak Portuguese anyway, right?
Si.
It then took some time for the scientists to categorize the species and reconstruct the skeleton. It says, it tells about the names of Indians. It says it's a custom in Brazil to give Indian names to paleontological finds. They lived 70 million years ago, and I see the ones that they had before, and the fossils only were found in Argentina. Now they got new ones that were 80 million years old, almost old enough to live in Sunrise Lakes and in Surfside. I keep clicking this thing, and it isn't refreshing, so you know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
Well, no, I want to do the break now, because I want to I don't want to box myself into a corner. And by the way, oh, here it is. Oh, man, that was the luckiest thing. That was almost like a sexual experience. The outer rain bands of Ernesto are spreading over the Florida Keys and southeast Florida coast. Some strengthening still expected. I think what I need to do is I need to print this out, because I don't want to have to read it off the monitor. You following me?
I'm following you.
And so what I do, I'm going to go do the break, and then I'm going to give you the advisory. Give you the latest and the not so greatest.
The biggest names of best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Anybody have a heart or a liver?
Food for your family, $300. Rebuilding your home, $5,000. Blowing all your relief money on divorces, sex change operations, and season tickets to the Saints. Priceless. There are some things in life that are necessities. For everything else, there's the FEMA card. FEMA, the official card of irresponsibility.
Heck of a job, boys. Okay, 156 Mad Dog is coming up next. Boy, this is like the old days. Remember the old days?
No. When was that?
The station had numbers all day?
Oh, those old days. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Here's the intermediate advisory, the 2 o'clock advisory on Tropical Storm Ernesto. A tropical storm warning and hurricane watch remain in effect from New Smyrna Beach southward on the Florida East Coast, including Lake Okeechobee, from Bonita Beach southward on the West Coast, and for all the Florida Keys, from Ocean Reef to the Dry Tortugas. A tropical storm warning remains in effect along the U.S. East Coast, north of New Smyrna Beach, northward to, what is that? Altahama Sound, Georgia. Well, we don't care about Georgia anyway. Let them lose their souls, right? Altahama. Right. A tropical storm warning and or hurricane watch will likely be required for the remainder of the Georgia coast and for the South Carolina coast later today. Nothing could be finer than to blow away South Carolina. A tropical storm warning remains in effect for the Florida West Coast from north of Bonita Beach northward to Englewood, and a tropical storm watch remains in effect from north of Englewood to Tarpon Springs. A tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch remain in effect for Andros Island, the Berry Islands, the Bimini's and Grand Bahama Islands in the northwestern Bahamas. At 2 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Ernesto was located near latitude 23.9 north. Are you charting, mapping?
I'm looking at it.
Tracking it? Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it, too, on the chart. Yeah, there it is. And, and I still feel the same way, but nevertheless, just quit interjecting your own opinions. You're no meteorologist, okay? You're no Brian Norcross.
Weather bunny.
You're no weather fairy. At 2 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Ernesto was located near latitude 23.9 north, longitude 79.7 west, or about 135 miles east-southeast of Key West, and only about 135 miles south-southeast of Miami.
Oh, my God.
Ernesto is moving toward the northwest near 13 miles an hour, and this general motion is expected to continue today and tonight. On this track, the center will be nearing the Florida Keys and extreme southern Florida tonight. However, rains and squalls with tropical storm force winds are arriving well in advance of the center. Can I read that last? It says, on this track, the center will be nearing the Florida Keys and extreme southern Florida tonight. Now, you see where the center is?
Mm-hmm.
The center is like way away from where all the rest of the action is now, if I'm looking at the right thing. Am I right?
Yeah, if that indeed is the center, you know.
If that's the is that what you're saying? Yeah.
It's kind of hard
Of course,
to
it's
tell.
not a hurricane. It's only a tropical storm. Although I would be very nervous if I were there, which I'm not. Maximum sustained winds are near 45 miles an hour, with higher gusts. Some strengthening is expected before the center reaches Florida, although the outer bands are already like whipping and lashing, and the Keys especially, and also in Dade, Soon, and Broward. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 85 miles from the center. The Air Force Hurricane Hunter plane reported a minimum central pressure of 1,008 millibars. That's 29.77 inches. Coastal storm surge flooding of 1 to 3 feet above normal tide levels can be expected in areas of onshore flow within the warning area. Rainfall totals of 5 to 10 inches are possible near the track of Ernesto over southern Florida, including the Keys through Wednesday through tomorrow, with isolated amounts of up to 15 inches possible. Rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches with isolated amounts of up to 6 inches expected over eastern and central Cuba. Rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches with isolated amounts of 4 inches possible over the Bahamas. Isolated tornadoes possible over South Florida, including the Keys this evening and tonight. Got it?
Got it.
Now you got it. Where are you going to get your gas?
I don't know.
Next advisory 5 o'clock this afternoon, by the way.
I'll just eat some
Where are you going to
beans.
get your gas?
I'll just eat some beans.
Oh. No, I think Josh ought to take you out right now and to drive around with you. Because he gets the diesel. Even if he runs out, he can keep, reloading up, you know.
All right, I got some cans.
Take you out. He'll follow you, and you'll keep going around and waste about 10, 12 gallons finding a gas station that's open. Mad Dog, Jim Mandich next. The crossover, the crossdress hour, 4 to 5, and the Humper, 5 this afternoon.
Bye, bye, bye.